starting out with this as our first meeting. And then the rest of you either drew the short straw or agreed to stay on Project Steering Committee for this fiscal year. So we do have quorum.
Great.
So Cindy, I could take it over to you. You're here. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, John, and welcome everyone to the first Project Steering Committee meeting of the new fiscal year. So thanks everybody for joining. And I'll call the meeting to order. And we do have confirmation of quorum. And so first on the agenda, we'll send back over to you, John, for the agenda review.
Fantastic. Our agenda pretty much highlights all the activities that have been going on. We only have one action item. We'll go over the minutes and the action items in the minutes from our last meeting. We did have a milestone event on July 3rd, and we're going to talk about that from the project standpoint, from some numbers, statistics, things like that with the Wave 4 Go Live. But more importantly, we're going to talk about it from the county experience. And you're going to hear directly from the counties on how things are going, how things went, especially as we continue to support those Wave 4 counties and get ready for Waves 5 and 6. We know that migration isn't the only thing that's going on. So there's a ton of policy work that's being done, and there's a ton of activities in the county with the continuous coverage unwinding. We're going to give you an overview of that, and we do have a large release that is up and coming this weekend that we want to give you an update on. Always things happening with Benefits Cal, give you an update on that. I think Project Steering Committee, JPA, the projects have been doing a really good job using our risk and issue management process. We want to talk to you about where we're at with our risks. And we don't have any issues open at the time, but we want to be able to talk about these risks, a new risk that we have on the horizon with a few things coming up. So we'll spend a little bit of time reviewing that. We know that we had a couple more production outages than we've had in a long period of time in June. One of the action items from the PSC was to come back that says, what are you guys doing to help bring resilience into your processes, into the technology in order to prevent outages like that? So we do want to spend a little bit of time talking about a follow-up from the June meeting where we talked about a couple of those outages and we took an action item to come back. There'll be a Benefits Cal update. I think we're going to highlight where we're at with the release of information work group and gathering that we have. We want to talk a little bit about, and I'm going to give you an update on some work that's been going on with the legislature, our stakeholder partners, the administration, the LAO's office on supplemental reporting language and what that is and what that means for the project and reporting out. Something that we haven't had on there, we know that with each one of the rollouts, Contact Center, our AWS Connect solution, is rolling out to our migrating counties. We are also doing some upgrades for our former C4 counties, and we're preparing for LA County to switch over to the AWS Connect solution in the month of November. And we have some enhancements that's come in there that we're also rolling out. So we want to bring the PSC up to date on that and where we're at. Of course, in the background, there's a large set of procurements that's going on. Tom's going to come in and give you an update on that. And then we're going to hear from our QA partners, IB&V partners, and hear from our state partners, and then from each one of the regions. Cindy, I think we have a full agenda, but I also think we have plenty of time for discussion and things like that, and we should be able to finish within the allotted time.
Sounds great.
Back to you.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, this is the public opportunity to speak on items not on the agenda. Public comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, except a speaker may, using a translator, shall be allowed up to 6 minutes. Note the public may also speak on any item on the agenda by waiting until that item is read then requesting recognition from the co-chair to speak. All lines will be muted when the meeting begins. To unmute, click the microphone icon. When connected, if via telephone, press *6. So this is the opportunity for the public to speak. Any public comments?
Hi, good morning. My name is Kevin Aslinian. I'm with the Coalition of California Welfare Rights Organizations. And lately I've been having major problems with understanding CalSAWS and having somebody to talk to find out what's happening. And right now, the process is if we have a problem, there's a quarterly meeting and we have to wait for the quarterly meeting and hope that that issue would be, we would be able to, that issue could find a place on the agenda to discuss. And other than that, we have no way to talk to CalSAWS and find out what's happening. And it's sort of like, it's very dark. And it would be nice to have a list of contact people that advocates could talk to and get information about what the process is, how things work, just questions to talk to somebody. And there's no one to talk to. And that's a big communication problem. Of course,
Okay. Thank you for your comment.
yeah, and I guess every time I say this, it just goes into the dark black hole.
Okay, and there is a comment in the meeting chat that there are other forums that we have to raise questions. So thank you for your comment. And anyone else wishing to comment at this time?
This is Jennifer from the advocates group. Kevin, I can circle back with you to work with you to figure out what questions you have and which forums they should go to, because we do have a number of forums to raise questions. So let's check in after the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Anyone else with comments? Okay, don't see or hear anyone else. Thank you. And then John, I believe we'll move then on to the action items, which is the approval of the minutes from the May 18th and the June 29th PSC meetings and review of action items.
Very good, thank you. And I think the minutes are self-explanatory. Hopefully you've been able to see them. They were done at a very high level. There was one action item that was on the last page where we have providing a listing of future dates when the system will be impacted or down for the weekend. We know that this was an important item. Sandra brought this up to say, you know, the counties need to do planning as you go forward. And having that, especially with the continuous coverage unwinding on how you can do that. We did include that with the PSC packet. There was a CIP 026323 that went out this morning on the CalSAWS maintenance system outage calendar. Now, I do want to caveat this, that this is a point in time. And this is as of July 18th. And we're giving this to and publishing this for planning purposes for the county, but we'll still continually do our updates on our notices and those types of things. But we did want to fulfill that because we know that this will be an important document for planning purposes on what weekends to steer around. So Cindy, with that, I think that closes that action item, and these are up for Project Steering Committee consideration or an action.
Okay, and John, it does look like we have a hand raised. Ruben, do you have a comment on the minutes?
Yeah, sorry, I had my hand up for public comment, but I don't think we caught it. So let me know what
Okay,
the right.
apologize.
It's all good, no worries. I don't know if you need to vote on the minutes. Can I do my public comment now or after?
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't see you earlier.
Oh, no, no worries. It's all good. It's just sharing with it. So this is Ruben Ya, use he, they pronouns. I'm in Oakland, California. I work in the UC system. We support our basic needs efforts. We've been collaborating with several of you all here, just making sure that college students are taken into consideration and we're supporting them as we're transitioning to all this new technology. I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support that has gone into engaging our college student populations across community college, CSU, UC, and just confirm with you all that we are hearing that more and more campuses are starting to use the technology by request of their county partners. So just want to put that on your radar. I also want to make sure that everybody knows that there is now a county higher education liaison. Happy to share that roster with folks. Now we have a dedicated county staff member that's going to be responsible for organizing and working with all of the colleges in each individual county. And then the last thing that I wanted to share with y'all is to invite you all to a party. So we're going to be convening in Sacramento. We're going to be in the Sacramento Convention Center. Save the date, February 21st and 22nd. Is going to be the second Chebna Summit. We have around 1,500 to 1,800 folks coming together in Sacramento, everybody who's responsible for basic needs. And I would love if we can lift this particular effort of Benefits Cal, some lessons learned, and just let folks get to know some of the leadership in this project. So more information to come. I just want to share some good news, send the invitation, and just make sure that everybody is like stretching on a daily basis and practicing your dance moves, just in case you're going to be joining us in Sacramento, because we are going to throw a big party the 21st in the evening time. But that's pretty much it, y'all. Thank y'all so much, and passing y'all back the mic.
Sounds great. Thank you for that. And I scrolled through, I don't see any other hands raised here for public comment, and thank you for that. Sounds like a fun time. Okay, so we'll move back to approval of the minutes. And is there anyone who'd like to make a motion?
This is Anna from Region 1. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
This is Rachel from Region 3. I second.
And John, is this, can we move to approve both months' minutes, or are we doing one at a time?
We could do both. The one from June 29th was just to elect the co-chair, so action items out of that, and we've closed our outstanding action items. So we will move to approve both. Okay.
Okay. So
Clarissa, do you approve?
I approve.
Clarissa? Great, thank you. Eduardo?
I approve. Thank you.
Very good. Cecilia, I know that you weren't here. Do you want to approve for the record, but not for content?
Yes, for the record, I will approve. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Cindy?
Same for me as well. Thank you, John. I approve for the record.
All right. Very good. Elaine? Elaine Martinez?
Oh, sorry. Approve for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Albert?
Approve.
Thank you. Sandra?
I approve.
Very good. And Olga, would you like to approve for the record? Olga? One more time, Olga.
Yes, I approve. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties over here too.
No problem. Thank you for doing that. All right, that completes the action item, Cindy, and it moves on to our informational agenda. And the first thing that we want to do on that is really talk about our wave 4, the cutover weekend, some of the production statistics that we've seen to date, the post-implementation support that's been going on since July 3rd, our county operations, what we're seeing, and then we definitely want to hear from the counties who have gone through wave 4 and what they're experiencing. So with that, I'll turn it over to Arnold.
All right, thank you, John. And I'm going to allow Leslie Pevney, our conversion manager, to walk us through the outstanding success that we encountered with Wave 4B and 4C. Leslie, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to announce that the Wave 4B cutover, bringing the Wave 4 counties into CalSAWS, finished ahead of schedule at 81 hours. The system came up 3.5 hours early, and we had the system live by 2:30 a.m. on Monday, July 3rd. As part of that cutover, we converted 1.28 million cases, 3.4 million programs, 2.6 million persons, and added over 33,000 county users. That brings our overall database, adding an additional 4.4 billion rows of data. This cutover did not just include the conversion, but also included contact center and imaging, as those solutions went live at the same time. Moving on to the next slide. Our highlights is after Wave 4 went live on July 3rd, all systems have been stable, and we hit our new record high of over 23,000 concurrent county workers logged in across the 52 production counties. Our nightly batch processing on that county load completed before 6 a.m. Our online performance SLAs are continuing to be met, and counties are reporting all-time high call volumes and being answered. Our Wave 4C, which is bringing over the closed cases for Wave 4, successfully completed also ahead of schedule on July 14th, and that brought in and completed all of the Wave 4 migration. All right, next slide is handing over to Benefits Cal for a product system update.
So for the Benefits Cal usage for the Wave 4 counties, good morning, everyone. So I would like to share that in the first 10-11 days after the cutover, we were happy to see a positive trend in the number of applications coming through the users. As you can see here, we observed over 13,000 applications submitted by the Wave 4 counties, as well as over 100,000, 114,000 documents we have submitted by the users. Even though it was early, first 10 days, we also see renewables submitted and the SAR 7s completed by the end users. And another important item to be highlighted is the account creation and the linkage for the existing customers. Over 32,000 accounts have been linked by end users to existing cases in the system. So overall, for the first 10 days, 11 days, there is a positive trend. We are happy to share that. And in the upcoming meetings, we will continue to monitor these and share the highlights with you. With that, if we can move on to the next slide. Perfect.
Good morning, everyone. So now transitioning into our post-implementation support for Wave 4. Overall, the implementation support has been going well. There are currently, right now, or at least as of this week, we have 132 CalSAWS county staff that have already surrounded our Wave 4 counties in supporting them throughout the migration period. We have almost 300 total members of our collective teams, including the counties, supporting our 4 Wave 4 counties. Up until this point, we've also talked a little bit about our virtual support. So in addition to on-site in the county offices, we also have our virtual support, and there's been over 715 virtual interactions that the 4 Wave 4 counties have dialed into and asked our collective teams about. And of those 715, we are so pleased to report that 92% of those have been resolved at first contact with the county end users. But enough about hearing it from us. Let's go ahead and turn it over to our Wave 4 county points of contact to walk us through their experience. So I would like to invite Albert, Kelly, Julia, and of course, Clarissa, if you wouldn't mind sharing your experiences over the past 3 weeks.
So first of all, maybe Kelly, first of all, thank you for being here. Kelly is one of our newest JPA board members from Solano County, and maybe you can kick us off, Kelly.
Sure, I'd be happy to. 2.5 weeks in, and we're doing surprisingly well. I walk around, staff morale is calm and positive. We're certainly slower, but and we're behind, but we expected that at this point. We've seen the biggest impacts on our clerical staff because they had probably the most significant business process changes in imaging and tasking and appointment scheduling. And our fiscal team has required some added support. But really the last 6 weeks leading up to our go live, we felt so very supported by the various teams from CalSAWS. Tons of work, lots of decisions to be made. It was definitely an all hands on deck time. But again, thank you all so much for the support because it really, your hand holding made this much easier. And then since the conversion, the on-site support team, the virtual support team, everyone has been wonderful and helping us navigate those issues as they come. We've been able to respond. Many of them tend to be just training gaps that we needed to plug the holes on, and some minor technical things, many of them on our end, but getting the CalSAWS team together with our team, we've been able to resolve almost all of those. So at this point, we're feeling great and we're super thankful for all the support that we've had getting through this.
Thank you, Kelly. You guys have just been outstanding partners and just working with us so well on this, and your staff ownership of the system and working together on that. From Santa Cruz County, maybe we can go to Julia Sheehan, and Julia is an executive of Santa Cruz County, long time lead for CalWIN and has been leading the CalSAWS implementation. Julia, want to give your perspective?
Absolutely. Thank you. Long time is right. I want to just kind of echo what Kelly Curtis is saying. There was so much lead up to this project that it almost feels calm now that we're 3 weeks in, right? I was just commenting that I feel like I can actually think about other things in a cogent manner and actually think about something else for a minute. Our workers are calm. They're using a lot of the resources. We have great on-site support. We have great virtual support. And many of them felt comfortable to go back to remote work. We had everyone on site for the first 2 weeks, and then we kind of did a litmus test late last week to make sure people felt supported, comfortable, and many went back to that remote work style. And so we are slower, but we are getting through the work. What I try to do is level set expectations with everyone because we're adults and we like to know what we're doing in our work. And this was a big ask to feel vulnerable and not know everything. And so I remind everyone that with CalWIN, we grew incrementally, right? We converted from our CDS system, added IVR, added a portal, added imaging. All of these things grew over the 20 years we used CalWIN. And with CalSAWS, we went live with all of that in one day. And so it's okay to not feel 100% comfortable. But moving forward, our lobbies are open, our phones are working. And I feel that with all of the great support and preparation, we had a really successful transition.
Thank you, Julia. It's been great partnering with you all and just seeing the work that you guys did to prepare and take every single step of the way incrementally and seriously. And I think we're in good shape. That doesn't mean that we're done. That means that we've just done on many of these journeys. Our own PSC member, Clarissa Simon, I think you and maybe Najit wanted to give the perspective from San Mateo County.
Thank you, John. Najit is unable to join us this morning. We had an unfortunate incident over at our Redwood City office that he's having to deal with. So all you got is me for now. experience from go live. Certainly there were some expected bumps with any go live, and some unexpected one, but also some pleasant surprises as we moved forward. The 6 weeks really was grueling. I think as both Kelly and Julia have shared, it was grueling for staff. It was grueling for our help that was coming from CalSAUS, but all worth it. At the end of the day, when we went live on July 3rd, it really was fireworks. We celebrated. So our staff are really, from a morale perspective, has been very patient. We are slower. We're going through things a little bit differently than the way we used to, but have been very patient as we continue to work through issues, as we continue to work through concerns, and as we continue to learn to do things differently. So we're going through that, but I do want to thank our regional managers. A special thank you to Greg, to JR, and to Daisy as we went through this process. They really have been with us throughout the journey, right? And really cannot say enough thank yous for their support as we move through go live. Our support team, certainly CalSAUS sent a cavalry of folks to our county as we encountered some bumps along the way. So thank you for both on-site support, for virtual support, and for continuing post-implementation. We still have folks in our offices helping us through this process. But I cannot say enough about the work of our project team internally, led by our primary point of contact, Nancy Etman. I'm not even sure she's on the call today. Her leadership has really driven our process forward, our implementation process forward. So a special thank you to her and her team as we went through this entire process, and of course, our staff who have patiently gone through this process with us as well. Thank you to everybody who joined us in this journey, and more to come, certainly. Lots of pleasant surprises, but continuing to work through the kinks of the system. That's all, John.
Thanks, Clarissa. It's been great working with you and your team. Yes, together we're just going to continue to make the necessary progress. And our largest county in Wave 4 was San Diego County, and our own PSC co-chair, Alberto Bemuelos, is here to give an update on how things are going in San Diego. Albert.
Well, it's kind of hot at the moment. It's kind of warm. I guess that would be the only issue or crisis that we here in San Diego are having. July 3rd for us was just another day, and I mean that with the most admiration to our team here locally, to the team that supported us on site, everything. We were expecting chaos, for lack of better words, and nothing happened. Truly nothing happened. Profiling, we knew that was coming. Okay, everything that was coming up day one, we were able to resolve day one. It was, again, very, the feel in the room at our main command center was like, is this it? Was this what we were worried about? And I was shockingly surprised to say that, no, I expected a little bit more, but it was such a great day for us. We also broke our call center call receipts on day one, go live day one. We also received 14,040 calls on day one. That was the record high for us in San Diego. We took the 4th off, and on the 5th, we received 15,200 calls the next day. So, and the staff, I mean, it was a truly smooth transition here in San Diego. That was our stated goal. That was our mission that we had. And to all of us on the call, for those of you that are coming up next, understand, and I've said this since day one, our success is your success. So I wanted to express my appreciation to our sister counties that have been here and are here supporting us. The Deloitte team, the project team, those that have been on site very quickly and able to move. They're assigned to one office. We are asking for just that over the shoulder support, and they easily deploy out where we need them at just at that moment. They pack up and they head out. Truly appreciate that. So, and again, we are looking forward to pay it forward for our remaining wave 5 and wave 6 counties. But again, I hope I could tell you that there was something bad, but truly it wasn't. It was just another great day right before a holiday. And but we couldn't have not done that with all the support that we received from everybody. So I truly want to extend our appreciation to all the support that we have received.
Thank you, Albert. And the video updates that we've received from San Diego County, the morale that you and your team have built in San Diego County is truly inspiring. And we love sharing those things around the project site. It really does get our team motivated to continue on and seeing how you guys are adapting to CalSAWS and all the related systems. Catherine, was there any other items that you wanted to give an update on with the Wave 4 migration?
No, John, that closes out the section for the Wave 4 go live.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Cindy. I think this is open for question, comments.
Hey, thank you. Truly, just a quick comment from me first, but truly amazing, like hearing all of the comments from all of the counties who just went in wave 4. It's just gotten better, I think, with each wave, but I'm just so impressed by all of the preparation that must have gone on there, and congratulations, to everyone on that. It sounds smooth, staff sound like they're calm, and everybody is learning together. And so just very impressive, and congratulations, everybody. So opening up to PSC comment, and I see Anna has her hand up.
Thanks, Cindy, and thank you everyone who shared their experiences and how that, first day of migration, first week happened, and how you've rallied your staff behind you towards this whole process. I mean, for me, as I said it before, one is I appreciate really the space among counties to share these experiences. And then also the support that the project has provided to the counties. I mean, it's amazing how you created the handrails at like different junctures of the process for us, right? And never like really leaving us behind pre-implementation up to like post-implementation. That is really obvious. And as Albert said, hey, we are looking forward to pay it forward. We go live not until October 30. So right after CWDA, anybody wants to come over to San Francisco, we're here. So, but now we're, it's comforting again to hear the comments, and I'll definitely be sharing this with my other directors here in San Francisco.
Great, thank you. Albert?
Sorry, I can't believe this happened. And how can I omit our regional manager, Ronnie, rockstar. She communicated everything overnight. Ronnie, thank you so much. But then the additional others, Ricardo on the floor helping our team, Melissa, just documenting everything, just making sure that she was able to just capture those moments. And Yolanda, I think you're the best, but that might be just me being biased. If people don't know, that's my sister. So, but again, thank you to the regional managers. My apologies for omitting you, but come on, that never. You were really a foundation for the team here. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Albert. Any other PSC members with a comment, question or comment? Yeah, I don't see anyone. And so now from the public, Ruben?
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh, beautiful. Just a quick direct comment. I don't know what Alberto had for breakfast today, but I hope that we can all have that breakfast moving forward because the amount of joy and energy that he's bringing to this call is fantastic. Just want to put that on the record. Just a quick follow-up, y'all. So thank you so much for the updates on how things are rolling out on our counties. I noticed just taking notes here on my side that a couple of folks said that there was like record numbers of phone calls and increase and that the teams were able to hold those and resolve those. Can I just get maybe like a quick follow-up from folks that received those record number of like calls and contacts? Maybe on our side, I feel like I'm programmed and I'm super open to unlearning this, but I'm programmed that when there's like record calls or inquiries from the community, it's usually because they're either confused or things are not working or they're having some challenges navigating something, right? Which is why they're making phone calls. But I'm open to unlearning that. And maybe in this new technology, the calls are coming in for different purposes. Because I'm trying to make sure that we're like right sizing how great of a job we're doing in preparing and navigating these calls. And at the same time, acknowledging that if we're getting record numbers of calls, what's the purpose behind the calls and what's the data that's available for us to learn from them, if you will. And is the record calls a consistent experience or just in some unique areas, if you will?
Okay, thank you for that comment. Appreciate that comment and kind of interesting perspective to the report out from the county. So I think interesting comment there. Thank you for that. Any other comments from the public?
Yeah, this is Kevin. I will second that the comment that Ruben made, and I was wondering if anybody has any kind of information about these calls, and if you could share that with the public, so so taxpayers, especially the federal and state taxpayers, who pay 97% of the expenses for CalSAWS, knows what's happening, plus the public. Is that possible? Or is that sort of information that you don't share with the public?
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for your comment. Oh, okay. Albert?
Cindy, if I may, I can respond.
Okay, great.
So yeah, so here in San Diego County, we are a large county. So for us to receive 11,500 to just shy of 13,000, 12,000 calls a day, that's a normal day. My comment was more in the respects that being day one, when we have a new system, we have been down for a couple of days because we had to go dark to allow for the migration to stand up a new system with staff that are not familiar with it, and then receive 1,000 more calls than what is our regular normal day where we establish a new record high. The comment was intended more to say, not only were we learning a new system, but we received a high call volume that day, and we were able to maneuver and get the responses to the community, learning a new tool. The following day, after our go live, was a holiday. So we were also then down for a day. And then on the 5th, July 5th, we broke again that new established record. So again, now today we're back to our normal call volume, which is 11,000 averaging a day. So again, it's not that something was broken. I think that we were just down for a couple of days because we were dark during our migration, and we did notice and we did inform our customers that we will have no access to our system for changes. We had the holiday in between, and that caused the increase of calls. And again, this week we're back to normal. So again, nothing was broken. It was just that we were just down the holiday, the weekend, And then we just got more calls coming in. And again, now we have a new high call volume of 15,000 calls, but we're again back to our daily average of around 11,000.
Thanks, Alberto. I appreciate that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Albert. And anybody else comments from the public? Okay, hearing or seeing none here. And then that ends that agenda item. So thank you, everybody. And again, congratulations for such successful weekend. Okay, and moving on to the next agenda item, release and policy update. And are we starting with Lisa?
Good morning, Cindy. Good morning, everyone. So we're actually going to start with the unwinding, and Teresa is going to cover the first couple of slides on this topic, and then I'll cover the rest. Teresa?
Hi, good morning, everyone. And I'm going to try to leave my camera on as long as I can, but I'm in a different location than normal, and the bandwidth's a little special. Well, first, I just wanted to say congratulations for all the amazing work that's been done by the project and the counties that have been migrating. Hearing the success stories and hearing, you know, how things are going with the systems is always inspiring on the call. So just wanted to start by saying thank you for all the amazing work. In addition to migration, we know that counties are also dealing with the continuous coverage unwinding and want to make sure that everyone has sort of the latest and greatest with some of the updates that are happening on the unwinding front. And the first thing I want to kind of just raise up is that, you know, of course, as we're continuing through the unwinding, as there are new opportunities to make the process easier for both our Medi-Cal members and just the administrative processing of Medi-Cal, DHCS is taking those opportunities to really try to keep individuals on coverage as much as possible. And so that's really represented in some of the waiver requests from the federal portion that we're really pushing towards. And so just wanting to let this group know, you know, first, we had requested some waivers in regards to fair hearings almost a year ago, and we finally did receive federal approval on those waivers and issued policy guidance in MEDL 23-26. And just in a very, very big nutshell, what the extensions do is, one, it extends the time frame for Medi-Cal members to actually file an eligibility related hearing. We know that during the unwinding, there is going to be some confusion, and we want to sort of allow for that. So individuals during the unwinding will have 120 days to file a fair hearing for eligibility related items. In addition to that, California also did request another extended time frame, but more on the administrative side, that if there were instances because of the large volume that caused administratively for the fair hearing to go over 90 days, that we would be held harmless from the state perspective for exceeding that. The one pivotal piece of that is that if the extended hearing time frame for an individual will go past 90 days, they do need to receive aid paid pending. So we're noodling through, we did issue this initial guidance, but we know that the counties need additional guidance on that second bullet and how to really administer that to make sure that folks that are having that extended time period do have access to that aid paid pending. And so we'll be issuing additional guidance on that particular process. And then the second piece is we had additional waivers that we requested. One of them was the use of income under 100% of the FPL. And really, just to nutshell this for everyone, what this means is that if a Medi-Cal member has income that is under 100% of the FPL, and that income hasn't changed, there's no discrepancies, there's nothing that would make us think that anything had been different than that. If they submit the renewal packet and they did not turn in income verifications, we can move forward with the processing of that renewal without asking for any additional verifications. We had something very similar with those that were reporting zero income. The one piece I always want to call out on this one is just from some special processing rules for our homeless or unsheltered population, that population, they don't even need to turn in the packet. And so if a packet's gone out and the county can identify that they're unsheltered and they're at 100% of the FPL or under, they don't even need to return their packet for the county to redetermine eligibility. And then lastly, the redetermination for hard to reach populations. This was a big request from our counties to be able to process Medi-Cal renewals with a SARS 7. Or, you know, we have folks that are coming to the office, maybe asking for replacement BICs, particularly our unsheltered population, and are sometimes challenging to get a hold of. This allows counties to really, as long as they have all the information they need, to do a redetermination whenever they have contact with Medi-Cal members. This is a wide open interpretation, meaning we trust the counties to make a determination about who is hard to reach. And we've instructed the counties to use this widely to ease the renewal burden process for both the Medi-Cal members and for our county administrative staff. On the next slide, just some things from a more global perspective that I wanted to share with folks is that, you know, we do have a Keep Your Community Covered webinar series that happens every other month. Our next one is scheduled for August 24th at 11 a.m. This will always provide sort of the latest and greatest where California is at with the unwinding, and the opportunity to register is within the PowerPoint. Then also, you know, we're really trying to be innovative about figuring out ways to get information out to our Medi-Cal members that will hopefully mean that it will save them from having to contact the county and potentially be on hold or coming into the office if the information is really readily available and easy to understand. And so DHCS, in partnership with the counties and other stakeholders, created an interactive frequently asked questions flow that has been added to the Medi-Cal member Keep Medi-Cal Coverage website, and answers a variety of different questions that likely folks have about their Medi-Cal renewal process. And then the last thing that's not on the slide, but I just want to make mention of, we know that there is a lot of excitement over the DHCS data dashboard that will be posted in August, because this is the first time we will actually see the impact of an unwinding month, as this will present June data. And so, you know, in just a little bit, Lisa's going to be talking about, you know, the county sort of ability to validate that data information. And so just wanting to share that we're working very closely with SAWS and the counties to make sure that the data that we're putting out there is accurate data and really tells the California story in the most effective way possible. And so I'll turn it over to you, Lisa. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Teresa. So next slide, please. Thank you. So a couple of high-level updates here. Last month, we did have a discussion, I believe, at JPA around renewals and submitting renewals online through Benefits Cal. One of the concerns that was raised was that if I link my account today in Benefits Cal and I have a renewal due, I don't see that link until tomorrow. So we did make some system changes so that this process that was running at night is now running throughout the day, approximately every hour. So if I link my account this morning, and within the next hour, I should see that renewal if I have a renewal due. And so that process is running Monday through Saturday as well as at night. So that's a change that was just introduced last week. From a reporting perspective, I did want to touch on this in the next few slides. We, as Teresa mentioned, the data dashboard will be published next month. There have been a lot of inquiries around some of the data requests that we've been receiving. So we're doing a couple of things with the counties. One, there's an overview session that's happening this morning, just to walk through some of these data requests as well as the current system reports. There'll be some documentation that's provided there to the counties, opportunity to ask questions, as well as LA County will be presenting on how they're using those reports. In addition, we continue to have a bi-weekly reports call with the counties. So as questions come up, or if there are concerns, the counties can attend that meeting and have a dialogue about any of the reports that they have there from a Medi-Cal perspective. And then not on the slide, but something that is scheduled for next Wednesday afternoon, we do have a 2-hour session with the counties. It's more of a technical session to walk through a couple of the SURF requests that I'm going to cover in a moment. So if you have folks who do ad hocs, we are making the SQL available because we know a number of counties have asked for that and want to run this themselves. So we'll have more of a technical session next week to walk through those data requests. So let's go to the next slide. So one of the things that was published back in June was around a county data review process. So we periodically get requests, what we call SURFers. You see here on this slide, the SOAR's internal request for research and analysis that typically comes from our state partners, DHCS, CDSS. So when we get these requests and we write the queries and produce the resulting reports, that output is made available to the counties to review. And so in addition to the output, we include the request, the resulting output, as well as in most cases, the SQL that is used. The counties have an opportunity to review that information. The process document itself was shared out with the county report leads as well as the regional managers in June. And we have initiated this process for our DHCS unwinding related SURFers. Now we know since I believe earlier this month we published some of our DHCS related SURFers. In most cases, these are at the individual level. We had a lot of questions about the counts. Most of the system reports are at the program case level. We also know that as we're going through the unwinding and continuing the migration efforts, both very important efforts. We know that in some instances for our waves 3 through 6 counties, some of the data points will be coming from the Calwin system. They have the same DHCS unwinding related SURFers and are submitting those. So as Teresa mentioned, we're collaborating across systems and very closely with DHCS to make sure that it is known where the data is coming from as we work through the migration waves for waves 3 through 6. So we wanted to highlight that as well. Next slide. So as it relates to the unwinding SURFers, we have 4 recurring SURFers here. The first 2 do feed into the PHE, the data dashboard that will be published next month. The first one is around pending applications and renewals. The second is will be focused on each renewal month and look at the disposition of what's completed or what may still be in process, ex parte rates, discontinuance counts. So these 2 are the focus of the session next week with the counties when we walk through these requests in more detail and the associated SQL. The last 2 SURFers are really person level listings, and DHCS is using those for continued outreach to our beneficiaries. So if someone received a renewal packet, CalSOARs will send out text messages there. DHCS is also sending out messaging to folks to ensure that they know that they have a packet on the way. And then the last one is around, post a renewal for a failure to complete additional communication to contact those individuals who are discontinued. To bring awareness to the fact that there was a renewal due. So continuing outreach efforts there for those last 2 recurring data requests. And again, we make that information available to the counties. We are, in addition, for the first 2 items, per DHCS's request, these are at the individual level. We have also published for the counties program level information as well, so you have access to both. Next slide. Okay, so shifting from the unwinding to our CalSOAR's release, some other policy items. As John said at the outset, it is a very big year for policy as we move through our migration and into our next phase. So just yesterday, we had the green light meeting for our July release. And so that was approved. So this Sunday, we will be deploying that code, and we're working through our validations before turning the system on with our 2307 release. There's some highlights there at the bottom of the slide. It does have over 50 system change requests. We are also actively working on an upcoming COLA, the CNI COLA, that is scheduled to run in CalSource the first weekend in August. I'm going to skip over some of the next CalFresh CalWorks COLA. I have a second slide for that. We are going to spend some time talking about this COLA this morning. For our September release, we are in development. So at the end of this month, we plan to wrap up development activities, and we turn that code base over to our system test team, our county validation, our QA teams. And so we'll then work through the testing cycle to get ready to deploy that release on 9/25. So next slide. So every year we have a number of major COLAs. Already this year we ran the SSA COLA, the FPL COLA. As I mentioned, we've got our CWS programs, foster care, KingGap COLA coming up. So our next major COLA is the CalFresh COLA, which also is combined with the CalWorks MAP increase, 3.6% increase this year, and the CalWorks IRT. We have historically run this COLA early September, late August. This year, our goal is to run it before the Wave 5B cutover, which you see here is the end of August. In order to do that, we need our draft COLA values and final values by August 11. That is an aggressive target, and one which we have been communicating very closely with CDSS on. With these COLAs, outside of the CalWorks MAP increase, which we do know we'll be getting a draft letter next week, CDSS will publish the final in mid-August. The CalFresh COLA and CalWorks IRT both are dependent on values coming from FNS. So last Wednesday in our meeting with the regional representatives from FNS CMS, we did highlight the need for these values as soon as possible. In addition, CDSS has reached out to FNS late last week and is awaiting a response. And that was the update as of yesterday. So the rationale here is, why are we trying to run this COLA prior to Wave 5? We did have this exact scenario, in fact, when we ran the FPL COLA in February of this year. The goal was to run it in both CalWin and CalSource prior to cutover. You know, we need to get the values in the system. We need to do our testing. We need to do those batch processes. So if we get the values, we would be running this. The target is the weekend of 19 and 20 of August. It is very important that the systems are in sync, because one of the key activities that we run during the cutover event, as our Wave 4 counties just went through, is our benefit match process. So that's running an eligibility determination where the benefits match. The case is accepted and saved in the system. Where there is a mismatch in benefits, we put what we call our yellow banner on the cases. So it's very important that the last EDBCs that were run and the systems were run on the same set of COLA values. If we don't get these in time, our first opportunity to run this COLA will be the weekend after a 5B cutover. We understand that that is a very aggressive timeline for our Wave 5 counties. We need to run this COLA for our 52 production counties as well. The impact of running it after the cutover event is that COLAs do not update yellow banner cases. So for those cases that have a resulting yellow banner, the COLA will be applied as the county has the opportunity to work through the yellow banner and resolve any mismatches and run EDBC in the system. So obviously our desire is that we run it prior. If in the event that we cannot get these final values from FNS, we will be looking at that first weekend in September. So that may result in some delays for the yellow banner cases and getting those updated COLA values. And so I just wanted to spend some time here covering this, because this is the preview when we get to our next section and we talk about our new risk 293. With this background, we do now want to turn to the next slide, which I believe is our Benefits Cal release update.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. From the Benefits Cal release highlights, on this slide, you can see the outline of the key milestones and the upcoming releases through the winter of this calendar year. And the timeline also, you can see the recurring quarterly collaboration model meetings, Calvin waves, as well as the monthly release activities. In terms of the quarterly collaboration model meetings, the last quarterly meeting happened in June 23rd. And the next one is coming up in September. And as it relates to monthly releases, 2307 is on its way, that you can see on the slide, is scheduled for next week, Thursday, on the 27th of July. And in addition to the monthly release activities, as we covered earlier with the Calvin updates, we are all very excited to have the Calvin Wave 4 counties integrated to CalSOS as well as Benefits Cal earlier this month. And the Wave 4 will be followed by Wave 5 and 6 this fall, this year, as well as the time clocks enhancement is also coming up last quarter of this calendar year as well. In addition to these, you may recall from the previous JPA meeting that the phase 2 of the communication and the marketing campaign recently kicked off in the month of June, with the target completion date this year in September 2023. And activities are currently in progress and more updates to come next month. And 2 items to highlight for the monthly July release, 2307, as I mentioned, coming up next Thursday, after next Thursday for customers. A change coming up is regarding the global search for the help center, which will be a priority, which was a priority by the collaboration model stakeholders. Global search feature will be added to the Benefits Cal to allow customers to perform a keyword search on the Benefits Cal help section, so the Benefits Cal help resources can be viewed by the customers instead of manually clicking through the sections in the frequently asked questions. Another piece is about renewals and the periodic reports dates. Currently, the dates received for periodic reports and the renewals are viewed by the CBOs already by the CBO dashboard as part of the case details, but those were not displayed to the customer on the customer dashboard. To align both of these dashboards, we'll be making an update to make these viewable by customers as well. Both of these are coming up next week on Thursday. So these are the key highlights for the Benefits Cal release activity standpoint. I think with that, I think I will be handing back to you, Cindy, since this is the last slide on the section.
Great, thanks so much for all that good information. So first off, any questions or comments from the PSC members? Okay, I do want to ask a question of Lisa. Thank you for all the information on the data reports. I know that counties are doing our due diligence on trying to review all the information and the reports that are posted on the surface. Thank you for passing that along. So it's just helpful to get kind of more of a summary of the data you're looking at and the data we're trying to look at. So a couple of questions though. On the meeting that's being held this morning with the management, I think management reports team, will that be something that could be posted or that could be helpful for the other counties to look at possibly, since we may not have people available for that meeting? I'm just wondering if it'd be something that an overview could be provided or posted or.
Yeah, so I will confirm if the meeting's going to be recorded. I think, okay. Is that what you're asking? And the materials that are being presented will be sent out. So that will be available as well. Okay, great. And I know we received the information on the other meeting coming up as well. And then when you talked about process documentation that was shared with county report leads and regional managers, this is on slide 15. Mm-hmm. What do you mean by that? Is that something also that could be shared, or is that? Yeah, that is that was sent out to the report leads and regional managers, and we can make sure the regional managers sent that onwards within the county. This is specific to this data review process related to the surfers. It is something that is new. The Calhoun counties had been doing this for a little while. Former C4 counties, this would be a new process to use. So it's a really short document, and we can just confirm that it was sent out to a wider distribution, including the P-box.
Appreciate it. I know, like I said, yeah, we're trying to all do our due diligence and reviewing, and certainly, you know, things are not always, we don't understand everything that's coming from the project. And so I really appreciate all of this data and information about everything that's being shared. So we'll look for those other documents. And any other comments or questions from PSC? Okay, questions or comments from the public?
Yeah, oh, sorry. I think somebody else had their hand up too.
Okay, Andrea? Rojas? Looks like you have your hand up. If you're speaking, you might be on, there we go. Andrea? You might be on mute because we can't hear you if you have a comment.
Hi, this is Marcela. I just had a quick comment, maybe just some clarification on slide number 14 on running the batches for the renewal links. I know you mentioned Medi-Cal, but does this also apply to all the other benefit programs like CalFresh and CalWorks?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, any other comments?
Yeah, are these CFRs that are going to be available to the public, the counties, are they going to be available to the public?
Cindy, I answered that in the chat. The SERPRAs and the data that we're pulling and having the counties be able to review is draft documentation that we're looking to the counties to validate, to understand. All of that process is then going to be feeding the public dashboards that are available to the public that DHCS will be publishing in August. So all of that draft data that we're working through with the counties is not published. It is going through a refinement process, an understanding process with the counties so that it can feed those public dashboards in August.
So when the CFR is final, will it be available on on your webpage for people to look at?
It's available through the DHCS dashboards that are going to be published by the state.
Okay. The other question is, I did not understand the COLA delays, yellow. Ms. Salas was talking, Lisa was talking about the yellow COLA or whatever. Are you saying that we're going to delay the COLAs?
Our intent
Kevin,
is to run the COLA. Oh, sorry, go ahead, John.
We're trying to expedite the COLA so that when we run our conversion process, that it takes it into consideration to be able to match the benefits. If we run that and there's a mismatch between as a result of the conversion, then the COLA cannot be automatically applied and there is more manual work for the county. So we're trying to coordinate with the state and our federal partners to get those things timely to reduce the amount of manual work associated with that. That's why we're raising it as a risk, to be able to receive those numbers early and to apply them timely, but we could run them a little bit early. Lisa, any other detail you want to provide?
That's correct, John.
Okay, thank you for doing that. Ruben?
Looks like Ruben has his hand up.
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Ruben. Can y'all hear me well?
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you all so much. This is super comprehensive, and I'm always grateful when we get visuals like this. It's really helpful for us to be able to navigate and have better conversations with our community. So just gratitude for the visualization of the content and not just presenting content. One of the things that's top of mind, y'all, as we're having these conversations around data, is just to make sure that everyone knows that there is state legislature that's coming into effect with regards to expecting data on social services enrollment for college student populations. CDSS specifically is being asked to include college students in their CDSS dashboard, and that is supposed to go live in January. So I just want to put that on our radars. I know that's the CDSS dashboard, but on this side, in this particular area, as we are designing data and reports, just wanted to confirm that college students are going to be identified as a population that will be proactively reported on, and that we will have access to college student experiences, or like outcomes, if you will, just so that we don't have to do that after the fact, but is proactively being designed now. And excited for the emergent journey ahead. And if there's anything that we can do to support on that, please tap us in. I know we've put a lot of energy into helping folks understand in Sacramento that higher ed does not have access to the data. The data is in the benefits CalSAWS, and therefore CDSS worlds. So happy to be your champions on that. But there is now a state mandate. And as soon as this next reporting cycle, we are expected to submit this type of enrollment data. So we've informed them that we're proactive participants with y'all in this process, and that we're working closely with CDSS. But if the data is not available on your side or on CDSS's side, we won't be able to submit those state reports. And then John gets the fun role of being in Sacramento in those hearings and helping folks understand all over again the dance that's been going on. So I'm just doing our best to prevent and have everything as clearly outlined as possible, y'all. I'm happy to elaborate on that off this call. And if you all want to do like a follow-up work session, happy to participate in those. But I just want to put that on everybody's radars. This is the year of mandated reporting. They are expecting enrollment data, and we've confirmed that the data is coming from you all and from CDSS.
Thanks for the heads up on that, Ruben. We'll definitely be looking on that. I appreciate you putting it on our radar.
For sure. Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you. And one last call for comments. Don't see any hands up or any comments in the chat. So thank you, everybody, for that comprehensive report out on all of that important information. So next up, we're going to move on to waves 5 and 6, readiness and risk summary. Arnold, possibly?
No, hey, Cindy, it's Duncan. Thank you.
Okay, hi. Hi.
Okay, so in terms of wave 5 and 6 readiness, similar trends to what we've seen with wave 4 and wave 3 for that matter. Overall, looking positive and on track for a successful migration for both wave 5 and 6. There are a couple areas wanted to highlight. For wave 5 specifically, there's an interface partner test that's done both between the project and the counties that are in that wave, as well as between the project and state partners. We are 99-ish% complete with that effort. There's one file for one of our wave 5 counties that is outstanding. And other than that, the test is complete both with the state and the other counties in the wave. So tracking really well on that. All of our other readiness areas are either on track or complete, with the exception of ad hoc reports. We usually leave this as yellow, knowing that most of our counties continue the ad hoc report refactoring up until go live and even beyond go live. The pattern that we have and agreement that we have with all counties going live is that any must-have reports that require refactoring will be done by go live, and we should be in a position to get that done for wave 5. Wave 6, there's a bit of some imaging work that's a bit behind, but nothing of particular alarm at this point, considering the time we have for wave 6. Everything else is either not started or on track. And there's a couple items that are complete. And then we also have ad hoc reports in yellow for the same reason that it's in yellow for wave 5, but overall trending well for wave 6 readiness. We can go to the next slide, please. So in terms of county readiness, this is just another view, which is specifically focused on the items in the migration work plan that are county owned. Again, you'll see the yellow for one of our wave 5 counties who we're confident is going to get to green very quickly, probably before the end of this week, hopefully. Other than that, we're all green or complete for wave 5 from a county perspective. For wave 6, there's a couple items a bit behind for one of our wave 6 counties that are in yellow, but again, we have ample time to recover and are actively working those with the county in terms of the items within their checklist for both application and integration that are slightly behind. We can move to the next slide. Okay, Arnold, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Right, and I will ask Leslie to come back, our conversion lead, to take us through our current set forecasted on timings for our wave 5 and wave 6.
So as you saw with wave 4, we had a very successful cutover window coming under our estimated window. We used that same technology performance improvement changes when we did our mock, which is a dress rehearsal dry run of wave 5. Using that bigger volume of wave 5 and the new technology of Golden Gate for real-time replication of our converted data, we were able to come in under the 84-hour window. So we have sent out a CIT that was communicated, that is 0252-23, for people to plan the counties, their wave 5 cutover weekend downtime. That is over Labor Day weekend. We are anticipating that wave 5 will contain, from a data volume perspective, more data than what we saw with wave 4. But as you saw, we were within the window with wave 4. So for the wave 2, we were at 87.5. For wave 3, we're at 85 hours for the cutover. And as I mentioned, wave 4 at the 81. So we are confident that we will hit the 84-hour window and started to communicate that out for wave 5. Going to the next slide, please. This shows what the CIT that sent out, showing that overall, what does Labor Day weekend look like for us? So for the CalWIN and CalSAWS system, we will start with CalWIN going down on 8/31. Their My BCW would go down at 5 p.m. The CalWIN core system would go down at 6 p.m. This again is 8/31 on Thursday. CalSAWS would then go down Friday, 8 p.m. at the close of their business. And the full system, including Benefits Cal, would be live back up by Monday, 6 a.m. Next slide. So that was the 5B cutover. Now switching over to 5C, which is our closed cases, and wave 6, which would be our staff and county prep work activities. We have drafted the window, and this was communicated earlier out of the tentative window. We will be finalizing this window and sending out a CIT once the mock cutover activities are completed, and this window is for a 58-hour outage. Moving to the next slide. On risk 258 for wave 6. So given our projections and the data, wave 6 will contain less data than what we saw with wave 4. So we are confident that wave 6 will complete within the 84-hour window. We are implementing our mock cutovers starting at the end of this month and going into August. Well, we will run through wave 6 for A, B, and C cutovers, confirming that volume and doing that full dress rehearsal. Once those mock activities are completed and we finalize the results, we will be sending out CITs to let the counties know their final downtime, and they can plan accordingly. For wave 6, that would be starting the Thursday, October 26th. CalSAWS would be that Friday, October 27, and then we would be up in the system by Monday, October 30th. Moving to the next slide. Hand it over to Arnold to talk about risk exposure trend.
Yes, thank you, Leslie. And so Duncan and I will talk about overall risk exposure. As you can see on the chart, as we've progressed through the conversions, our overall project risk exposure is decreasing. And it's over a month and month as we address the risks that we cover during PSC and JPA and actively manage every day on the project. So if we move to the next slide, we'll start with our normal review. So Duncan, would you like to take 262?
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Arnold. So 262, we are overall trending well, both for waves 5 and 6. There are a few things we're working through with wave 5 relative to communication around some of the ancillary systems that the county uses, and that's what's keeping this yellow. But we're all hands on deck for that, and are trending well. And then wave 6, we're already in a good position in green, so confident we'll get wave 5 to green and continue to trend as green for wave 6.
All right, so for 264, this is focused on imaging migration and whether the counties will have all the images transferred into CalSAWS in coordination with the cutover events. All the wave 5 counties are on track with that. And wave 6 counties are doing well as well. We have one county that is working through their incremental process. And what that incremental process is there's a bulk transfer of images that are converted well ahead of the conversion event, but there's still daily activity going on where new images are being captured. And so those images also have to come over integrated with the conversion process. And so that is where one of the counties is still working through that incremental process so that when we come up to the actual conversion day, the images from that month through the conversion day come over as well. So we're keeping a close eye, working with the county to work through that and receive confirmation that we'll be green by the time that October 30th conversion occurs. Moving to 269, these are the Calhoun counties may not have enough development and testing time to refactor their ad hoc reports. As Duncan had talked about before, for both wave 5 and wave 6, we are keeping a very close eye on this, as well as providing project support or mapping existing CalSAWS reports, as well as providing the county's assistance if they need to refactor or basically rewrite those reports to use CalSAWS as the source rather than CalWin. So the counties do prioritize their reports as to those that are required on day 1 after conversion, as well as those that can come in the subsequent weeks and months. And so we are working with those counties to keep an eye on those reports so that the data is available post-conversion. For risk 288, this is specifically around San Francisco County and the installation of their second circuit. So for all the counties, there are 2 network circuits that go in. So we have a primary and a backup. The primary is in and is functional for San Francisco. And we are leaving it amber until the second circuit is actually implemented and validated to be functional as well. But again, we don't see this, or we see this being resolved prior to go live, but we are keeping it as a watch item. Duncan, do you want to take 289?
Sure thing. Thanks, Arnold. So this risk 289 is really a monitoring risk that we opened, acknowledging the difference between what CalWin counties refer to as CalWin Lite, which is basically a stripped down version of CalWin that's available for external partners. And there were certain, there was a certain UI and a certain experience that external partners were used to for CalWin counties that looks a bit different on the CalSAWS side. So with that, in taking that into consideration and the move to both Benefits Cal and the CalSAWS Child Care Portal and Core CalSAWS, we have this risk open. It's low. We're working individually with each of the CalWin counties to make sure that they understand the transition between CalWin and CalSAWS for this portal, and that they're getting the support they need. Back to you, Arnold.
All right, thank you, Duncan. Moving on to risk 258, Leslie already provided the update on wave 5 and wave 6. Both of those are forecasted to fall within the 84-hour window, so we have downgraded these to green for monitoring purposes until we get through the mock conversions and ultimately plan on retirement. Duncan, if you want to take 285.
Yeah, so 285 just is documented to make sure that Calhoun counties can effectively operationalize CalSAWS after go live. We've seen great success thus far and minimal process bumps for our counties that have gone live, but we have this risk open to monitor as well. We're looking green overall for wave 5 based on both the county readiness and project readiness. And then wave 6, we do have a few things that we're still working through from an application and integration standpoint to make sure that our wave 6 counties are prepared, but feel confident that we can get that to green well in advance of go live.
Great, thank you. Moving on to risk 279, Calhoun counties may not be prepared to reconcile fiscal and submit state reports timely as they migrate to CalSAWS. We go ahead and leave these as amber as we work with the counties. So the process is 6 weeks prior to the go live, we start working through the counties around the details around the state and fiscal reports on how they can resolve those or use the ones that are produced by CalSAWS. Then after go live, there is a meeting that occurs every 2 weeks where the production counties as well as the new converted counties are able to come into a forum and share best practices, have questions answered, and basically receive the support that is required. And we keep this open for 2 months after each of the conversions for each of the waves so that the waves can, or the counties can close using the hybrid between CalWIN and CalSAWS in that first month, and then solely on CalSAWS on the second month. Moving into 280, unresolved go live dependent defects that aren't resolved prior to the conversion event could impact caseworkers. As we've noted before, and you heard through some of the wave 4 county commentary, each wave has been better than the others. And wave 5 and wave 6 will continue to benefit from that as we continue to address any of the defects that are identified post-conversion. And for those that are existent the day of conversion for 5 and 6, there will be a go live packet that has an alternate procedure to address any of the workarounds that the county worker may have to work on. But the overall goal is to address the higher priority, higher impact defects that may have any sort of impact on benefits or decrease the worker productivity, and have those resolved prior to go live or within the first 10 days after go live. For risk 291, enhanced conversion change management quality. This one has actually been downgraded to a green and will ultimately be retired. This was coming out of our learnings out of the wave 3 conversions, the B and the C conversion, and the process changes were applied to wave 4 for both the 4B as well as the 4C5A with great effect. So this risk will be retired. And then we'll proceed on to 293. I know that Lisa Salas had spent a lot of time talking about this, but we also have a project risk, which is our high risk. If we move to the next slide, Lisa can provide additional information on that as well. Oops, sorry.
Oops. No, that's all right.
That's all right, Lisa. I'll cover the last 2 risks, and then we'll come back to the risk that focuses on 293. So let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. 284 is the contact center enhanced call control panel. Scalability may impact performance for Los Angeles. This is currently low. And we're happy to report out that we wrapped up the performance test and it passed with flying colors. Los Angeles County was participating during the performance test as well and validated system performance as we were reaching those volumes. And then the last risk is 240. the scaling of CalSAW's production operations, including batch operations, to provide the 58 county support without effectively taking into account the multi-county and multi-vendor CalSAW's ecosystem may impact the business operations. This risk is really focused on making sure that the counties that are going to be onboarded with each wave are fully integrated into CalSAWS from a communications perspective, from a coordination of the files that get transferred to and from the county, to and from the state on behalf of the county, and making sure that they are also integrated into the enhancement process and the service desks. So there's a checklist that is completed prior to each of the waves going live, in which we make sure that the counties are integrated, that we have the contacts, that the communications are flowing, and that they're ready for go live. But we keep this as an amber just to maintain the emphasis in working through that readiness with those counties. Now, if we move on to the next slide. All right, Lisa, take it away on 239
Okay.
or
Thank you.
293.
So just to summarize, as John mentioned earlier, with this high risk, we are working with CDSS and bringing attention to FNS, the importance of receiving these values earlier than we have in prior years so that we can avoid running into challenges for our wave 5 counties. So the risks, specifically when we talk about delay in benefits, it's to a subset of customers in the wave 5 counties. And as I mentioned earlier, if we have to run the COLA after the cutover event, the COLAs will not run against the yellow banner cases. So for those subset of cases, the yellow banners, we know from prior conversions and the counties that have already migrated into the system, it takes time to review those cases, assess the mismatches, run EDBC, and apply the new values. So until such time that all those yellow banner cases have been worked, where they have a CalFresh benefit or a CalWorks benefit, the new COLA values will not apply until such time as the county has been able to review those cases and process those cases. So it may take a month, it may take 2 months after conversion. So our goal with running prior is that we can run in CalWin for the entire Wave 5 county caseload, apply the COLAs, and then the cutover occurs and any yellow banners, the county has time to then work through those with the COLAs would have already been applied, and that benefit will continue to roll until such time as the yellow banner has been worked by the county. So I just wanted to add that clarity there, that it's a subset of customers specific to the Wave 5 counties.
Lisa, I think the next slide kind of shows the proposal on how to run that as well.
Yeah. So this is exactly the same slide that I covered in the policy update, listing out our key dates there around the drafts, what we'd, if we get those draft and final values, that should say final on 8/11, we'd look to run the very next weekend prior to cutover. Otherwise, our next available option to run is that first weekend after cutover. So the 9th and the 9th and 10th of September. So this is just the exact same slide.
All right, Cindy, with that, I think that concludes this topic and we can open it up for questions.
Great, thanks so much. Okay, any comments or questions from PSC members? Okay, great information. Thanks for all the specificity on all that and the COLAs and what you need in order to make that happen. So thank you. And any comments or questions from the public?
Yeah, what happens if you're not able to get this information earlier as planned?
Kevin, as going.
John, that was a good response.
I was, my operator error on the mute button between the room and my computer. As Lisa mentioned, that if we don't run that before, the COLA isn't automatically applied to a subset of cases that have the yellow banner on them. We know that the yellow banner is run in a subset of cases where there wasn't an exact benefit match between CalWIN and CalSAWS. We roll the CalWIN benefit forward. The recipient continues to receive that. The county reviews those yellow banner cases, runs EDBC, takes care of those items and goes forward. If they have a yellow banner case on them, then automatic EDBC is not run, and that COLA won't be automatically applied to that subset of cases. So that's why we're raising those things, because it creates a manual work effort on the county. If it isn't applied in this subset of cases for Region 5 that do have the yellow banner cases, then what happens is as those yellow banner cases get worked, they have to apply that COLA manually, which is additional workload, which the counties wouldn't necessarily have a lot of capacity to be able to do. So we want to highlight that early, work with our state and federal partners and our county partners to hopefully get that early and avoid that situation, or to be able to, if it came in late, to work with them to be able to see what we could do from an automation standpoint to be able to help prioritize those things and minimize. So that's why we're raising that.
Yeah, this is quite simple, so I'm just kidding. It's quite complicated. So maybe we could have a separate conversation about it, because I am, if that's okay with you. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I think we've provided some pretty comprehensive documentation in this meeting, but Kevin, definitely, you know how to get a hold of me.
Thank you, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ruben, I see your hand as well.
Yeah. So thank you so much for this. This was really helpful. Just on the final slide, I think it's PDF slide 30, where we're just being notified with regards to the Wave 5 cutover. Just on the higher ed side, Wave 5 is going to be a significant one, as all the other ones were. Alameda County in particular has all three segments represented in it, meaning that it has community colleges, CSU, and UC. So just looking at the increased workload that's coming down that way and the breakdown that John just did, is there anything in particular that you all want me to communicate to the leads in Alameda County who are going to be experiencing this Wave 5 like impact, if you will? And if there's something in particular that you want me to communicate, happy to do so. I don't know if anybody can send me an email, happy to put it in the chat. Happy to copy and paste that and just put that on the radar of folks. I'm actually convening all of the colleges at our Alameda County Food Bank. It's gonna be really, really great on August 10th, I believe. So I'm also going to have everybody in person with us. So if there's anything that you want communicated immediately and around that August 10th date, we'll have everybody gathered in person. Happy to be your support and champion in those conversations.
Thank you, Ruben. And I'll talk with the team if there's anything specific. Off the top of my head, we're bringing this for county awareness. It should be transparent to the end user or end recipient on the timeliness of COLAs and those types of things. What we're trying to do is reduce any manual work effort on the counties on that, but the application of the COLA, how it gets worked through and things like that, we will work with the counties either way. So it should be transparent, but there is this risk that we're just bringing transparency to and trying to work through with our state and federal partners as quickly as possible. So I don't think that there is anything that needs to be highlighted, because people should expect to receive their COLAs timely. And that's what we're trying to work through to be able to ensure that there isn't any additional manual processes, and if there are, that we are working with the counties to be able to prepare them for that.
That's really helpful. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Okay, great. Thank you, John, and thank you for the comments. And I don't see any other hands up. And no other comments, it looks like. We will move on to the next agenda item, the action plan for the June production system outages.
Yeah, this is Don Coffey. We can stay on this slide, that's not a problem. Last month, two of the CalSAWS partners, Essentia and ClearBest, ClearBest being our QA, and that's who I represent, we were asked to review the performance interruptions for June and identify areas where more rigor might be needed within configuration management. We did proceed that, and we're still in process of some of those activities that we'll talk about further. I'll hand off to Jeremy in just a second, but a couple of the items we identified was we already have existing monitoring. We just need to enhance that and look at some areas that may not have been monitored. So we've also engaged other partners for some review in there. Notification practices, internal and external to our counties, and then our county engagements to make sure that we're coordinating any technical changes that might impact the counties. We've already been doing that, but we need to increase that. As we get to 58 counties, we need to broaden that a little bit. I'll turn the next slide that we have, or this slide right here, over to Jeremy, my counterpart in this.
Yeah, thank you, Don. So as Don described, there were some incidents in June, which I will go through briefly here just to reorient people about what happened back in June, and then we'll talk about some of the things that Don alluded to as next steps. So on June 1st, we had a network device upgrade that was incorrectly executed. That was an issue that impacted 2 counties. It wasn't a global issue, but it did impact all services in those locations. CalSAWS imaging contact center and the other services in those counties. And that issue started before the start of business on that day and lasted until about 11 a.m. when a second device was able to be brought online. The second issue, which was a global issue, as you can see depicted by the red on the slide and the calendar there, was an application issue that resulted in users being unable to log into Benefits Cal Contact Center and all the rest of the services. That issue was with the data tier. It started at around 12:19, was restored near 2 o'clock for a total impact of about 1 hour and 41 minutes. There was a recurrence of this issue in the evening. At that time, because root cause was unknown, the team failed over to the standby database to be able to execute batch and restore services. And then the third issue was with the access and identity management solution. This happened at 10:55 a.m. On 6/20, it impacted CalSAWS, Benefits Cal, Contact Center, OCAT, imaging, really all of our services. And that was an issue that lasted about 2 hours, with the resolution being failing over to our alternate site for a total downtime of 1 hour and 46 minutes. And then the fourth issue happened on 6/23. This was a denial of service attack, again, with the authentication authorization software. This happened, in the evening. It started at 6 and degraded services over that period of time until it became kind of unresponsive and unavailable at 9:30, impacting all services at that point in time. And it was restored at 11:34 p.m. that evening. It's important, during this, I just want to highlight, during this denial of service attack, there was no data loss, nothing was compromised. So just want to reiterate that, but it did impact services for 2 hours and 4 minutes. Then I'll turn it over to you, Don.
Yes, if we could go to the next slide. Great. Yeah, these were the actionable items that we alluded to before, and I'll pass this on so Jeremy can give the details, but I wanted to kick it off. Because we did reassess configuration management, as I mentioned, existing processes, and looking for consistency across the environment. That's still our goal. There's more than just the production environment, but we also have the production environment that spans to our partners, Benefits Cal and others. So we have to methodically take a look at our assessment, configuration management, and what touches, like I mentioned, our other partners. I'll turn it over to you, Jeremy, to give.
Yeah, so one of the things that, Don talked about was looking at our alerting and monitoring and really taking the opportunity to look across systems. There's a lot of integrated systems. And so, were there opportunities to make sure we have the right visibility across those integration points and harden the processes around making sure that we're getting the right people notified and appropriate communications and people engaged. We're looking to see if there's some opportunity where we're missing the right instrumentation or there's additional tweaks we can make to add new instrumentation. The other area we talked about was we believe there's some opportunity is I talked about how we failed over in some of those events that happened in June. We're looking at how we can streamline the communication or the approval process and execution process. So when those failure events happen, we have known patterns that we execute quickly to recover services. And then another opportunity we're looking at is around looking at how we optimize some of the maintenance procedures to minimize downtime, maybe, making sure people are on site when there's network upgrades and some of those devices that, would be able to short cycle the resolution process if we had people physically there, as an example. And then coming out of, the denial of service attack, we're looking at, additional ways we can look at hardening our threat detection capabilities and other preventative measures. And really, like Don said, making sure that we have that consistent pattern across the platforms so that we're, making sure it's secure and we can identify those things early and prevent them from causing system impact. So, Cindy, that concludes what we had planned to share.
Okay, thank you for that information. Appreciate it. Any comments or questions from PSC members? Okay, and any comments or questions from the public? Okay, very good. We will move on to the next agenda item, which is the Benefits Cal update.
Thank you, Cindy. It's going to be Lynn and I. Lynn, I think you're going to get started, right? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Lynn Bridwell. All right, I wanted to provide an update here on the release of information. The ROI, the release of information, the work group is being formed and put together now. As a reminder, this comes out of a request from the May JPA board meeting where we suspended or paused, the ROI functionality from being introduced into CalSOS and Benefits Cal. And the request was to form a work group. So the work group, as a reminder, will include people from our state agencies, advocates, and other county representatives. So we'll have CDSS, DHCS, OSI, CWDA, county representatives, advocate representatives, and of course our CalSOS staff. So that membership is just about finalized. We were finishing it up this week. So we've collected that. CWDA has been instrumental in working with and collecting county members on those pieces, and so they'll be included. From there, we've been working on draft topics. The draft topics were compiled out of various meetings that have been held back in May through June, where counties have expressed concerns or requesting clarifications regarding the policy. How did we operationalize it? trying to understand some of the implications for them as they operationalize it, any of the legal constraints on it, those types of things. So we've compiled a list of those concerns, had shared with, as draft, with our state partners and the advocate partners, a listing, a ballpark listing, if you will, of some of these items that are in there. And they fall into some general categories. So right now we're looking at its policy guidance, considerations or questions. So there's several items within that area. That area will also include some of the legal questions that have been posed or raised. Another area that'll be addressed and looked at for the ROI work group is processes, how they're defined. So those are the processes for counties to operationalize it. It provides also the guidance on how CBOs are within the series of steps, and the state with their series of steps. So those are all intended to help get those clarified and refined. And then from there is the system functionality or the automation. What we will be looking at is that the system will have its changes. ROI functionality, as we were going to introduce it, may require some changes. It's going to be based off of those clarifications that come out of the policy or processes as they're defined, redefined, or any changes around that piece. When we get ready to work on those specific changes to the ROI functionality, it will go through our already established public-facing review process. It'll include the input, it'll include the reviews, and all of those series of steps. So we'll have an effort for the ROI work group to provide some guidance on that. And then the project will address the system functionality or the automation changes after that. Currently, I am soliciting and finding out the availability for our current members on establishing a meeting schedule. The first meeting will be a kickoff meeting. And so we're looking at that occurring within the next few weeks. So I'm trying to coordinate between calendars on those parts. That's my update for the ROI work group. I'll turn it over to Onar from now.
Thank you, Lynn. For the benefits call updates, so as we are collectively moving forward to 58 counties, just 2 waves away, improving the user experience with listening the inputs from the stakeholders continues to be a priority. And of course, the collaboration model is a really important stakeholder group to provide us those priorities and providing the feedback as well. And today we would like to share some highlights on the system improvements that are coming up soon in benefits call in the month of August, next month, as part of the release 2308. And the first item is that I would like to share is prioritized by the collaboration model stakeholder through the recurring meetings we had, and includes multiple revisions on the benefits call homepage to improve the overall customer experience. So with this revisions, there will be new links on the homepage to align with the milestones of the benefits journey for customers. To orient the users, like if they want to apply for benefits, okay, I want to manage my benefits, or I want to help others with their benefits as a CBO. And also revisions will include, we will make revisions to the existing sections on the homepage to include cards or new graphics to update the headers or the text on the account creation pages to orient the users when they are coming up from the homepage to improve the overall user experience. And the next enhancements I would like to highlight this morning is about the benefits call announcements section. This is also coming up in the August as part of release 2308 to improve the customer experience, also prioritized by the collaboration model stakeholders too. So there will be a new page added to the announcement section where users will be able to view all the announcements all together. And also there will be revisions on the visual design of the announcements banner. Also the announcement will be grouped based on the category, so the users can browse through the different type of announcements by the category themselves. So these are the 2 key items that are coming up in next month. And both of these are, as part of release 2308. On top of these, though, there is additional items coming up too, including the help text for primary applicants to add a tooltip on the program selection page on the benefits call to manage the expectations for the customers who know they are unlikely to be eligible, but they're applying for their dependents. So we are adding some tooltips next month as part of Release 2308 as well. Last but not least, we have another improvement coming up on the customer dashboard on the renewals category in the month of August too, to avoid the confusion if the renewal or the star 7 is already submitted by the customer. And if they are reviewed, meaning the ready to run the EDBC or complete EDBC accepted, so it will reflect on the dashboard. So the renewal link will no longer be available. So it will not create, it will avoid the confusion for the customer side. So they don't have to go ahead, oh my God, I have to resubmit my renewal or the star 7 again, kind of a thing. So this is also coming up in the month of August as well. So with that, this completes the key highlights for the Benefiscal upcoming enhancements for the month of August. And I think, Cindy, this was the last slide for this section. I will be handing it back to you for any questions. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for all of that. Good information. Any questions or comments from PSC members on either of those? I have a quick question on the ROI. So this is for Lynn, I think. I realize that you're trying to set up the schedule and all that. Is there any kind of timeline or target date that this is anticipated to, maybe a draft to be finalized or anything that would be targeted for completion yet?
I
could probably hop in on that.
Okay.
Thanks, Lynn. Maybe I'll hop in on that, and then maybe you can make sure that we're aligned on expectations. We don't have a target date because it's very much dependent on the guidance that we get from the work group on the policy items and the process items. From that, of course, incrementally, as those things look like they're getting landed, we're going to be having the automation team looking at what changes or automation changes may or may not be required as associated with that. And we know that people want that as quickly as possible, but we don't know the scope or how those things are going to be landed. So we can't provide a date yet, not knowing what that scope and where it's going to land. So I think we're going to be bringing it back to this meeting and letting you know how we're trying to land those items and when we can come to a date. Lynn, anything else you'd want to add to that?
No, you summarized it very well. I do anticipate that there'll be the periodic updates coming out from the work group as far as progress and where things are landing. Yes.
Great, sounds good. Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the public?
Hi, this is Jennifer from the Advocates Group. It sounds like if there's going to be periodic updates over an extended period of time, that perhaps this process is expected to take multiple months. If that's the case, it's very concerning because of the impact to clients when CBOs are not able to help them. Excuse me. I really hope we can find a way to move through the work group process quickly so that we can answer questions, support counties to prepare to implement, and make sure that this can be available for CBOs and consumers, because this is to help consumers access benefits and get support. So I just want to acknowledge the comments that if we're expecting multiple updates, I hope that it's not because this takes months and months and months.
Just to clarify my comment, we will be coming back and providing updates, and it will be doing that as quickly and diligently as possible. We will not wait on those updates. We just need to see what the scope of the change in the agreement is that comes out of the work group, and then working through as quickly and diligently as possible. If those do span the reporting period for PSC and JPA, we will be bringing those updates. So I didn't mean to insinuate that would be happening over many months. It'll take as much time as it takes, knowing that everybody sees the urgency and moving quickly on this.
Okay, great. And thank you, John, for clarifying and for that update. Any other comments or questions? Okay, and I just also wanted to congratulate the team also on the collaboration model. I think it works very swiftly and smoothly, and so great job there on getting some of those enhancements into the benefits cal. It's been working really great. So, okay, I think that without any other comments, we'll move on to the next agenda item, the stakeholder engagement. And John, I think that's you.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring the PSC up to date of some things that came out of the spring budget hearings. During the session, both the Assembly and the Senate subcommittees requested a discussion with the administration, CDSS, DHCS, OSI, CalSAWS. I was representing CalSAWS, CWDA, as well as the advocates to engage in a discussion about CalSAWS benefits cal and our customer engagement process, any concerns that were around that, and sort of work through some of those items and to better educate the legislature on where things stood. As a result of those hearings and that dialogue, both the Assembly and the Senate subcommittees requested that the Legislative Analyst's Office draft from supplemental reporting language with input from those same parties that testified to track their legislative intent is to make sure that we improve our processes as we go forward, that we mature our processes. So for those of you that aren't familiar, supplemental reporting language really contains statements about legislative intent. We know that we do have legislation that has a stakeholder engagement process for CalSAWS for the public to be involved in and understand public-facing aspects of the CalSAWS system as we go forward. Now, supplemental reporting language isn't codified into law. It doesn't provide any type of supplements. It's supposed to say within the existing policy confines, your funding restraints. We want to be able to tell you what the legislative intent is and that we are to meet that intent within the policy boundaries and our funding boundaries that are already set by the legislature. So the LAO facilitated meetings with all of the parties that I mentioned, and we've gotten the latest language. This has not been published yet, so I'm giving you a sort of a preview of what we believe will be published in the next few months by the Legislative Analyst's Office. It's a summary. It isn't all the details on of what is intended and the language. So let's go to the next slide. As you can see, this is the WIC, Welfare and Institution Codes, that sort of outlines where that stakeholder engagement process is and defines the intent of the supplemental reporting language, and that the administration, being the state and CalSAWS, will minimize burden. So we will not add additional burden through the automation process for the public to learn about, apply for, and keep county administered benefits through the continued solicitation and integration of feedback. So making sure that there is that feedback and input from stakeholders into the development, implementation, maintenance of the public-facing elements of CalSAWS. Okay. Further down in that, it talks about what I already mentioned, that the intent is to improve the processes and to have a standard process for soliciting and integrating that feedback and input from the stakeholders into the prioritization and enhancements of the public-facing elements. And then at the end of that first paragraph, number 1, you can see it's already what I mentioned within the policy and funding that is already allocated. There is not a supplement to be able to do that. The first report is due on January 10th, and it's for both the administration and CalSAWS to submit that report to the relevant budget committees as well and policy committees of each one of the houses of the legislature and on what is our improvement efforts. How are we tracking that? How are we monitoring that? Cindy mentioned the collaboration model. How is that getting to have standard processes and doing that. So we're going to be working on maturing those processes, that tracking process, making sure that there's transparency in those processes, and working through standard processes as we go forward. Let's go to the next slide. Again, I think I mentioned all these things. Improved process for solicitation and incorporation of stakeholder feedback and input into prioritization of enhancements to public-facing elements. Making sure that as we work through that our processes provide consistent, effective communication with stakeholders and a meaningful engagement, timely inclusion of the feedback of those public-facing elements. And then the draft language that people sort of worked on and stacked hands on was examples of changes, our enhancements, and progress towards furthering the goal. Again, always furthering the goal of minimizing the burden of the overall eligibility process for enrollment, retention of benefits for low-income Californians, and streamlining interactions for both clients and eligibility workers with existing technology, resources, and policies. We know many of those things. We can't add additional technology, and we need to streamline the technology. We know that also has to be hand in hand with the policy. So, differentiating between the necessary hoops from a policy standpoint, not layering on any additional from a technical aspect of it. So those are things that we have to work on. And again, I appreciate all of the parties' participation in talking through this language, acknowledging that we have a lot of work to do to complete migration. And it's a heavy lift to be able to complete migration, get migration completed, but also looking to the future of how do we mature our processes to make sure there's that input going forward. So I wanted to let the PSC, tomorrow I'm going to let the JPA know about this language. It'll be something that the administration, the state, the project, as well as our advocate counterparts are going to be working on and maturing in these forums as we go forward. Okay. So that's all I had to present on this, Cindy, and I'm open for any questions.
Okay, thank you, John. Anyone of the PSC members with a comment or question? Anna?
Thanks, Cindy. I'm looking for my raised hand here. I couldn't find it. But John, I just want to say I appreciate your presentation, and you provided a very thorough and detailed information about this. I also appreciate the citing of the WIC code, where that came from. So that makes it easier for us also moving forward into, as we have more further discussion on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay, any other PSC members?
Hi, Cindy. John, I just wanted to say, just echo the comments recently made. This is very thorough and really shows commitment to engaging the public and getting, feedback. So thank you for all the references. Super helpful.
Thank you, Elaine. And again, it was a group process to go through that, from administration to the legislature to our advocate partners, and sort of teasing this language out, making sure the intent is clear and how we work together. So I'm definitely just reporting out on a group project.
Great. Seeing no PSC comments, I'll move to the public. Any comments or questions from members of the public?
Hi, this is Jennifer Tracy from the Advocates Group. I also just want to acknowledge my appreciation for the opportunity to go through this process to develop the language. We look forward to being able to see the outcomes from this process. I know we've had processes in place for a while, and so through this language, being able to now move into showing those outcomes, I think will be a very positive experience. So we look forward to working on that together. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer, and thanks for your work on the language and working together on that.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, thanks, John. Great information for us there. Very clear and concise and thorough as well. Okay, thank you. And then we'll move on to the next agenda item, the contact center update.
Danielle, you out there?
I can go ahead and step in while Danielle's trying to get on. So starting off with our update on Los Angeles County, we're continuing to work on getting LA ready for their go live in November. You can see on the left here, we've completed all of our design activities and updating their call flows with the latest versions, as it has been a little while since we had planned to go live at the end of last year. So we're continuing to work on that progress. So we've got the latest approval on those designs approved by the county, and we're currently working towards building out those updates into the environment and getting our testing done on that environment so we can get ready for the next phase, which is on the far right here, which is our model office phase that we conduct with the county where they can click through the environment. So everything is currently on track for the schedule that we've laid out with the county, and we're still tracking towards a November go live date. So we're making pretty solid progress there. And as you heard earlier on the call, we just completed our performance testing of the environment at LA County scale and volume. So we're making really good progress towards this date. If we move into the next slide. So on the next slide, this is an update on our ECCP rollout for the former C4 counties. So while we're working on all these other activities and getting the Wave 5 counties ready to go live and LA County, we're still working on rolling out ECCP to our former C4 counties. We have completed the first phase of that, which is San Joaquin and Merced here in the May timeframe. We're currently working on phase 2 right now and testing and getting that ready for deployment in the beginning of August. And then as we complete those ones, we're moving towards phase 3 and 4. And we have all of our training materials out there for the counties using our WBTs and resource guides. We're also providing the former C4 counties a training environment / model office environment for them to click through, whether it be for this training or for future training as well. So we're continuing to make really good progress here. And the one caveat is we're continuing to work with each county individually on making sure that these dates work for them as we go live. And I'll call out one in specific. In phase 2, we have Sutter County had asked for us to move their date back to 8/16. So we have 3 counties in that phase 2. 2 of them are going live on 8/10, and then Sutter County's moving to 8/16. So we're continuing to work with the counties directly to ensure that we are collaborating on these dates, and we're making sure everybody's on the same page with this rollout. So overall, good progress on this rollout, and we're making some solid movement towards getting ECCP rolled out to everybody. And then moving into the next slide, we're moving on to the welcome and authbot update. So just as a reminder, we have kind of 3 things that are part of this overall solution that we're adding to the contact center. It's the welcome bot, which is the open-ended question, how can I help you today? And then taking that information from the customer and redirecting them to the right area of the IVR or to the right queue within the IVR to make sure that we're speeding up and making the process faster and better for the users to get to where they need to go. We also have the authentication bot where we're providing authentication questions to authenticate the customers. It's basically taking the same steps a worker would do to ask up to 6 different pieces of information, which we require 2 of in order to get authenticated, and authenticating the customer, as well as push notifications, which is after you're authenticated, we're taking some of the self-service information that we have and providing some updates directly to the customer. So whether it be maybe their benefit amount or the status of a form, and we're giving them that information proactively rather than waiting for them to navigate to that, because we've seen that we see in some of our pilots and proof of concepts with San Bernardino County, we've seen up to 13 to 20% increase in call deflection, which is where we've given the information to the customer and they've been able to get what they need. So on this timeline that we're seeing here, we originally piloted this in San Bernardino County, kind of at the far left. This was a successful pilot in San Bernardino County, and we have been working to expand this to the rest of the counties within CalSAWS. We kicked off that project in October of 2022. We've been developing that solution and getting it ready for rollout. And then in May, we launched the updates to the technology. So there's no real new functionality as part of this. We're just taking what we deployed in San Bernardino and expanding it to the rest of the counties. We did do a technology refresh, though, of the Amazon Lex platform. It was on Amazon Lex version 1 originally, and we've upgraded that to Amazon Lex version 2, which was deployed to San Bernardino County in May as our first county to get the upgraded kind of technology solution. And we've been continuing to work as we move forward with this. If we move into the next slide, I'll give an update on kind of where we're at with the additional counties. So as of just a week ago, last week, we went live with our first new county on the solution, Placer County. They've been live for a week, and we've seen upwards of 24 to a 31% increase in authentication rates since we have gone live. So we're seeing positive results from what we've seen from their go live, and we're going to continue to monitor that as we move forward. And we're continuing to stay on schedule for our next counties, which is Yolo and Shasta, for a 7/28 deployment date. And then we're moving on to Sprint 3. And as we kind of move on, we're going to start including more counties in our deployments to continue the progress. So overall, good progress on this solution, and we're making solid strides to getting this rolled out to everybody. And I'm really, really excited with the results we've seen so far in Placer, and I'm excited to see what we're going to see in the next counties as we move forward. And I'll turn it back over to you, Cindy.
Hey, before you do that, John, just thanks for jumping in on that. You know, I don't think I've met too many people that can talk as fast as you can. So and very good information. We can tell that folks are excited about that. Just a little bit of context as we go through. As we talk about these things, the enhanced call control panel is ECCP. That is what the county uses to be able to receive those calls, manage those things. We have a couple different versions out, and the highest level of functionality is the ECCP. So then that's what we've been rolling out with each one of our migrations, and we know that we wanted to come back. We had some bumps, some technical bumps here and there that we've worked out, and now it is ready for prime time and rolling those through all of the counties. So we go to a standard platform. So we're excited about that. And then on the bots, this was one of the things that came through our enhancement process when we did the Shark Tank process to say, how can we help through automation to better serve the public and work through that? And in past meetings, JPA meetings and PSC meetings, we did demonstrations of those bots. We talked about what we were seeing from a numbers standpoint. So this has been an enhancement that we did as a result of that Shark Tank, showed that innovation, demonstrated those in public meetings. And then it also shows the partnership that when we have those proof of concepts and we're working with the counties and we're working through those items, that as we work through and get those into our budget documents and justify those things, our state partners, our legislative partners have funded those things to be able to roll them out at scale across the state. And those are the things that we're doing to roll them out. So we're using enhanced technology on the front end so customers can authenticate through, be welcomed and authenticate through this phone system. So as they get into the headset of the county users, that there's more information available to them and it's less manual steps to be able to do that. So we wanted to make sure, and again, LA County is coming up on the AWS call center solution. That one, we've tested it. It's at scale. It integrates with CalSAWS. It integrates with our ForgeRock system. And we are improving that through the innovation process and bringing those to each and every one of our 58 counties. I think this is the promise of CalSAWS, to innovate and roll it out after it's been tested. So as our team looks at that technology and works through those things and talks through those things, again, just pulling back for a second and looking at how did this come about, where were we at, and really why are we so excited about this to be able to get this in place. So Cindy, I think we're open for any questions that might come up.
Great. Thank you, John, and thanks for adding that. I was going to ask about first on the ECCP. I know that we're not scheduled yet in our county anyway until phase 3, but I was curious. So you kind of touched on that. It looks like San Joaquin and Merced are complete 5/12/2023. And so, yeah, just wanted to confirm that some of those bumps have been smoothed out and that it's working well in those counties that have already gone live with the new ECCP. And then I think John.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just going to say, yeah, it has been, they have been ironed out. It does have, we do work with each one of the counties and make sure that the configurations are accurate and things like that. So that's why we have to incrementally, it's a county by county thing that we work on those configurations and testings and rollout. And that's why it's through these, called sprints or incremental phases, that we're rolling them out in between our rollouts of the migration to make sure that we get those. But yes, and John Dre, any other things? I know that we did have a couple bumps in the road. We thank San Bernardino for working through that, and we've worked through with Placer and those, but we are getting that stability in ECCP that the counties expect and need.
Yeah, this is Danielle Benoit. Can you guys hear me okay now?
We can, Danielle.
Awesome. We just recently met with all of the contact center managers throughout the state. One of the items that we did have a conversation with was regarding San Joaquin and Merced's rollout to get their feedback so that they could share that with the other managers. Cindy, I know that Mark was in that meeting. They had nothing but positive things to say about their rollout. There was no issues that they've encountered or encountered since. So we're looking forward to the next phase to go out and those continuing phases. So positive so far.
Great. Okay, great. Thanks, Danielle. I appreciate that additional information. I was going to ask, well, could San Joaquin and Merced provide us with some updates? So great news there. Thank you. And then on the next section of this, the bots, we did hear previously about how successful it was in San Bernardino. So we're looking forward to getting those as well. And it looks like the statewide rollout will conclude in October of 2023. So John, I'm assuming that the next counties after this 8/4 date that we would expect to be contacted, the other counties that aren't on this list here, to start getting lined up in the queue for the bots.
Yes, that is totally correct. We will start reaching out. We're going to keep an eye on how things are going for the counties as we launch them. We want to make sure it's going successfully and everything. And then we're going to continue to start reaching out to the next counties as we move forward.
Great. And I'm wondering too, with this item in the future also, would you be able to share some kind of data, or I know San Bernardino did when they were piloting it, as far as how it improved, on their responses and the call center authentication and all of that. Perhaps that would be helpful too in the future to illustrate how this is helping our processes.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Great. Okay.
We'll take it as an action item, Cindy.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and then it looks like it's a pretty good schedule going forward to get all the rest of the counties up on board with this. So appreciate the update on it. And is there any other PSC member questions or comments?
Hi, Cindy. This is Sandra Boland from Region 5. And I just wanted to say thank you for this information because it's wonderful. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of help to our counties. And Cindy, you asked the right questions because I was going to ask the same as to what was that rollout schedule, and then maybe giving us a little like what do we need to do to prepare, because this is pretty exciting, especially when we're seeing anywhere from 13 to 20% call deflection. So again, thank you so much for sharing the information.
Yeah, we're all excited to jump on the train. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, Cindy, I was just going to comment on the communication plan. So we will be sending communications to the contact center managers group per county with information on impacts, what the deployment date is closer to that. That is also something that we discussed with that contact center management group earlier this month.
Great, thanks for that. Okay, any other PSC questions or comments? And any comments or questions from the public?
Hi, Cindy. This is Jennifer from the Advocates Group. First, I just want to acknowledge we're excited about this new technology to support access for consumers and to streamline the ability to support them at the contact centers. I do want to add that one thing we've been hearing from counties that have created a required authentication process in the IVR, it takes an extra 6 to 8 minutes for people to join the queue if they're unable to authenticate themselves. And this is a significant burden for folks who have limited ability to navigate these systems. What we're seeing is that people who have lost benefits during periodic reporting, like their renewal didn't get in time or didn't get approved for some reason, they're calling to have their benefits revisited or to find out what happened to see if they can be reestablished with their benefits. But the menu options aren't clear. And in order to get into the queue, let me back up. So because they've lost benefits, they're unable to authenticate themselves. So they have to go through this 6 to 8 minute process to fail the process and then finally be added to a queue because there's no menu option for them to be able to say, I'm a recent customer, I need some help getting my benefits back, or any other way for them to get into the queue without this extended process. And it's a significant barrier. We're seeing people having to reapply entirely because of this, especially marginalized communities, non-English speakers, farm workers, folks who already struggle to maintain their benefits. So I just want to acknowledge that to everyone as you're creating these systems. And is there a way for us to do some sort of customer engagement with the IVR system to make sure that we can reduce those barriers? Like as John mentioned with that WIC code, this is a public facing aspect. What can we do to reduce the harm to customers in the way that these IVR systems and authentication systems are being developed? And can we support some sort of user engagement in that process?
Hey, just to comment real quick on that, Cindy, and thank you for raising that important point, Jennifer. We are engaging with a specific county where their call flow that we work with them and designed with them is having this item and sort of working with them on this particular issue. So we will be working through that. It does not seem to be systemic across all of the interactive voice response systems on this queuing process, but we are working with one of our newer counties to be able to look at their specific call flow and design to be able to do that and to be able to streamline that on that. So we definitely can report back, and we can also talk about, giving you all an update on some of those features and functionalities and things like that on that flow and contact you on that. But I appreciate you bringing that up. We have heard that on a particular design. And again, we're going to learn from those designs to create those guardrails so that they don't do that and work with our counties. But we are digging in on that particular one and we'll loop back with you all on what we've learned from that and how we're going to prevent those items. So I'll have an action item on that, and we can reach out to you specifically on that.
Thanks, John. Any other public comment? Okay, I'm hearing seeing none. We'll move on. Thank you for that good topic there. Move on to the next procurement update with Tom.
Thanks, Cindy. The first procurement update we have is on the M&O procurement. It's going along swimmingly. We got back to our vendor community with some clarifications and an addendum, and they're busily working on that to get us apples to apples comparisons. Our next procurement activity, next page, please, is the Benefits Cal re-procurement. As you know, we're coming toward the end of our contract with Deloitte on Benefits Cal and are looking to get a new contract in place for enhancements and maintenance and operations activities. We're in the process of reviewing the requirements with various stakeholders and fashioning the RFP to go out to the vendor community. Next procurement activity is the AWS contract through the Omnia Partners, formerly National Cooperative Purchase Alliance. It was submitted for state review a little bit later than that, and it's in the state and federal review process. We still think we can probably get it in front of the JPA board by August 18th with an effective date of September 1st, but we're also looking at ways we can maintain our deal structure and discounts if in fact that is going to slip. So those are the openings, and it looks like I have a video problem where you have a beautiful view of the beach but no face, so I'll have to work on that. Back to you, Cindy.
Great. Thanks, Tom. During this heat wave, we'd all wish we were at the beach, I think. So we don't mind seeing it. We can hope. So any questions or comments from the PSC members? And any questions or comments from the public? Okay, thanks for that update. And we'll move on to the update on the key QA activities.
Good morning. This is Dan Dean, the project manager for the quality assurance team, and I'll be covering our highlights over the past period and some of the activities go forward. Just as a reminder for those that are new to this call, the quality assurance team works across all the various subsystems that are part of CalSAWS, from the core system to Benefits Cal to OCAT, imaging, and call center, with all 4 of our delivery partners and across all phases of the project, from design to test, to production operations, implementation support, and PMO activities like risk management, planning, and estimating. The first third of this chart covers our functional highlights. The 2 things I wanted to call out there is the 2307 release, which Lisa highlighted. That was greenlit yesterday for deployment this weekend. So coming Monday, it'll be out there for the users to use. And also, one of the areas we're involved in from a Benefits Cal side, while there was not a large July release on the Benefits Cal side, we are working with the counties and the Benefits Cal team to confirm county configurations go forward for the future waves. So that includes stuff like the offices that are set up, the programs they support. So as applications come in, that interface is working appropriately. In the middle there, you see our technical reviews, 21 CalSAWS SLAs, as well as 3 additional SLAs specific to the imaging system. My summary on that is, as we speak today, the system has over 100 billion rows of data. Arnold highlighted some of those statistics. The system has gotten bigger, and our experience over the past few weeks is batch has gotten faster. So we're pleased to see that, and that's directly attributable to a lot of the tuning and efforts and activities that have been performed by our delivery partners. Jeremy and Don highlighted earlier the 3 system-wide impacts. There was also one that impacted 2 counties, so I'll not belabor that. The last statistic there covers the call center activities, and the QA team is working through 23 different scripts with each of the counties as they go live to confirm the functionality is working for them and that the system is configured as for those counties. The final chart there covers migration activities. We're in Wave 5 county data validation, supporting 64 testers. That completed at the end of last month. We went through and triaged with the team over 95 findings, similar numbers from prior periods. And what we do with that is update training materials, CITs. Some of those are triaged into either enhancement requests or defects. A lot of that is really findings that the county users have identified where things look different in CalWIN from CalSAWS. And we work to support the knowledge sharing that's needed for prior to go live to help with implementation from there. Each of the waves has about 9 retrospectives planned. Upcoming on August 7th through 9th, we will be out in the Wave 4 counties with consortium and the implementation support team. San Diego is August 7th, San Mateo and Santa Cruz August 8th, and Solano is August 9th. And then Wave 6 county data validation, we're in the midst of preparing for that. The latest cut of that data will be available on August 7th, with the execution of county data validation for Wave 6 scheduled for August 14th through 25th. And I think, as Catherine highlighted towards the very beginning of this meeting, there's over 200 implementation support staff, project and county out there. 10 of them are from our team as well. So we'll continue to be part of those efforts. That is the highlights from the QA team. Cindy, back to you if there are any questions.
Thank you. That's great. And you covered a little bit, Dan, at the end there about, I was going to ask about what happens when you have findings as far as these defects, that you find, and what do you do from there as far as follow-up? So it sounds like there's some follow-up planned with some retrospectives and that type of thing. So appreciate that. And curious, is there any of these that also would impact the already in the system, the current CalSAWS counties, or is it really just migration impacts?
I would say that the majority of these are really clarification of how the data looks in CalWIN from CalSAWS. Some of them are enhancement requests because things look different, so they go through the prioritization request. The subset of defects is cumulative through the various waves, and we meet with the conversion team on those weekly. They've reduced the backlog by about 30%, but consistent with prior waves, we make sure that anything that is a major impact, such as a priority 1 or 2, that those are resolved prior to go live in each of those future waves.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, thanks for that clarity. Any other comments or questions from PSC members, or? Any comments or questions from the public? Scrolling through, I don't see any. So thank you, Dan, for that presentation. And moving on to the next.
Maybe reading between the lines on the question too, is that ClearBest and QA team also do M&O and standard releases quality checks that look at overall system performance, the releases going in, the performance associated with the releases, and that is part of that. This was specific to migration, but they also are a QA vendor for M&O, M&E activities, and overall performance.
Great, thanks so much. Okay, next we have the update on the key state IV&V activities.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Apurva Kandya. I will be providing you with the key IV&V updates from the project oversight we perform on the following work streams. On the CalSAWS and Benefits Cal releases, the CalSAWS release 2305 was a smooth release, and the readiness for CalSAWS release 2307, which is coming up this weekend, is looking good, with testing execution completed at this time. The monthly and priority releases for Benefits Cal have been running smooth in the past few months. In the last few weeks, we attended the design sessions on the proposed time clock functionality, which went really well. And there was great feedback and participation. The questions and comments were addressed appropriately. So overall, it was a very successful design session. On imaging front, the CalSOS imaging solution is continuing to maintain stability for the 52 counties, and the performance tests which were performed on the 100% load as well as on the 122% load completed last month delivered very positive results. And with our validation of the test results, we are confident that the system will be stable for all 58 counties. The imaging, WBTs and ILTs, the trainings are progressing very well for wave 5, and there is positive feedback being received so far. Imaging document migration process for wave 5 is also on schedule, and the imaging team is continuing to make progress with the priority defects and enhancements. On the batch processing front, the batch processing has scaled and performed well with the expanded workload from the recently added wave 4 counties, and the team is continuing to work on enhancements to ensure that jobs are finished within the targeted 10-hour window. We are looking forward to the wave 5 performance tests, which are coming up in later this month. Coming to conversion, the conversion team worked towards completing 2 successful cutovers, 4B and 4C5A. Both were completed way ahead of schedule with no major issues or data discrepancies. The mock cutover for 5P also completed successfully, leading to the anticipation of the cutover window, which is also under 84 hours. The team did a great job at resolving defects that were planned to be implemented with wave 4 go live, as well as within the first 10 days. At this point, there are very few defects which are remaining pending resolution, and they all have a set resolution date. To perform a better assessment of the conversion readiness and improve our tracking of the conversion processes and issues, starting with wave 4, the IVNV team utilized a checklist to ensure appropriate mitigation steps have been followed and proper checks and balances are in place. We will continue to perform these independent assessments for the future waves as well. Coming to the last topic, implementation. With the successful implementation of wave 4, now CalSOS is functioning well as a 58 county system since past 3 weeks. And the post-implementation support has been going great with quick resolutions of issues being raised. The readiness for wave 5 and 6 is looking great so far. The tracking of implementation checklist item is going well with the TOS meetings. The county sharing program is proving to be very helpful for the onboarding counties, and there is good reference material being shared via the infographic CITs, CNC meetings, and TOS meetings. So overall, the readiness for wave 5 and 6 is looking great. That's my update on all of these 5 work streams. Are there any questions for me? Back to you, Cindy.
Great, thank you. Any questions from PSC? And any questions from members of the public? Or comments? Okay, thanks for that. And we'll move on then to the state partners updates.
Good morning, this is Steve Turetsky.
Okay, great, thank you.
First, I just want to let everybody know, sort of have an announcement here. The Office of Systems Integration, our name has changed. With the signing of this latest budget, we are now going to be called the California Health and Human Services Agency Office of Technology and Solutions Integration. So the acronym has grown a little bit. It's now OTSI. And in the future, you will notice in our communications and when we speak at public meetings, that's how we will be referencing ourselves. So that's just a heads up. I also want to say congratulations to the project team, the counties. What an excellent job with the Wave 4 cutover. Things really went smooth. We've monitored the weekend activities as well as the post-go live activities. Been very impressed with how well things are running. We do have a couple items that we're working on with the project. Tom mentioned one of them, the AWS Cloud Agreement. We submitted that to our federal partners on July 7th, It's under an expedited review. We're really working hard with them to try to get that agreement in place so that it'll be ready for the JPA in August. We'll keep you posted. We also have a couple other documents that are in the review process. The Calwin operational APD, likely their final one. That's with CMS for review and approval. And we're also tracking a couple contract amendments. One's formally submitted to the feds and one is still with the state. We're working through some comments with your team. We will continue to monitor the Wave 4 post-go live activities as well as the preparations for Wave 5. All in all, the project is looking really good, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Cecilia Rowland with CDSS. First of all, I just want to echo OSI's comment regarding Wave 4 cutover. We really do appreciate all the hard work from the project. In regards to risk 293 about the COLA, the CalFresh COLA, our team is closely monitoring this risk, and we will notify the project immediately whenever we get an update from FNS. The other item we have is that we have submitted a state plan to FNS for replacement of CalFresh benefits and are awaiting approval. The plan proposes some changes around the timeframes for both benefit theft reporting and claiming. It also includes automating the benefit claim form on the Benefits Cal portal and CalSauce. And lastly, I just want to announce that I have a new role in the automation and design section chief, and will be the main point of contact on all CDSS automation items. Thank you.
Okay, is there an update from DHCS, or was that already provided during the release update?
Cindy is probably already provided. Maybe Teresa had to sign off, but is there anybody from DHCS that wants to add to Teresa's comprehensive update from earlier in the meeting? I think that concludes this section, Cindy.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any comments or questions from the PSC members on any of the partner updates? Okay, or from members of the public? Okay, thank you for that. And we'll next move on to regional updates. And I'm just going to go in order. And so I'll start with Region 1. Any updates from Region 1?
Thanks, Cindy. So I'll go ahead and cover Region 1 update to free up Clarissa in case she needs to jump to her midday meeting. So for Alameda County and Sonoma County, it's pretty much the same update. As we know, Alameda and Sonoma is preparing for Wave 5. This coming up this September. So they both have completed process simulation. They've also completed converted data validation, successful 5A cutover and click-through with no outstanding issues. And they began the county prep 717, which is this Monday. Then for San Francisco, we're preparing for configuration sessions. We're preparing for process simulation, for the converted data validation. And then currently we're developing a go live support and escalation plan to support staff during the first 60 days of go live. We're working on transition planning of various ancillary systems that will be impacted by the transition to CalSauce. And we began working with Accenture on retrofitting queries to pull data from CalSauce instead of CalWin. Then from San Mateo, they've completed internal CalSauce support model. They completed CalSauce system configuration before go live. They also completed the CalSauce ancillary cutover for collections and tasks. Imaging migration to CalSauce has also been completed, and they participated in CalSauce cutover click-through activity. And then, of course, they went live last July 3rd, as we all know. They're working on post-implementation support activities now. Then last but not the least is from Monterey County. They're planning a meeting with CalSauce for the CSC transition from managed to POP. They're finalizing their business processes to coincide with Benefits Cal technical support, and their go live is 9/25/2023. After meeting with Santa Clara County and discussing EICT linking, duplicate person identification, correcting processes, Monterey County is finalizing their business processes on that. The BP aligns with CalSauce materials and fills in gaps of understanding. Last but not the least, continuous filling of vacancies department-wide, and community benefits is in the process of hiring eligibility specialists for a CalFresh and Medi-Cal induction group. And that's it for Region 1 updates.
Great, thank you. And we'll move on to Region 2, Eduardo.
Thank you, Cindy. For Region 2, we have just a few updates. Calaveras County is currently scheduling interviews for both eligibility specialists and eligibility specialist supervisors. They're planning for their annual Eligibility Employment Services Appreciation Day in September. And they also had 2 presenters at the CalFresh Roundtable and received amazing reviews in the CalFresh Digest. For Nevada County, they have been staffing cooling centers due to the recent heat wave. They're also doing CalFresh Outreach at assistance centers for those affected by the winter storms. Placer County has been assisting with virtual support for waves 3 and 4 and signed up to assist for wave 5 as well. For Sacramento County, currently working on configurations and early training, started the IPT testing, and also recently completed their executive management presentations to the Bureau staff, and they were very well received. So special thanks to Rosie Ramirez and her team for getting the executive team ready for those. And for Sutter County, Sutter County is currently working on staffing and vacancies, and they currently have staff in their transition training unit and training unit, and plan to keep the 2 groups running simultaneously until fully staffed. And that is all the updates for Region 2. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We'll move on to Region 3. Rachel.
Thank you, Cindy. We do have some updates for Region 3. In Butte County is reporting that they have a current eligibility induction class happening, hoping that they will actually be able to start an additional class in August. They are still in process of remodeling their Oroville office. Their temporary lobby is currently in a large conference room. For Del Norte County, they're reporting they have 20 vacancies in the Public Assistance and Employment and Training branch. They're looking for more creative ways to shift staff in order to continue to offer services in the most expeditious way possible and still meet program requirements. They're restructuring their training unit in preparation for the eventuality of getting additional staff. Also reporting some difficulty and some increased caseloads due to low staffing. They'll be sponsoring a county employment job fair this month to advertise and inform the public of the number of current county positions that are vacant, and hopefully will garner some additional applications. They did recently complete their CalFresh management evaluation during the last week of June, and have submitted their draft CalOR county self-assessment plan and are waiting the comments and suggestions before submitting the final. For Glenn County is going from employment and training workers back to integrated case workers. They will soon be recruiting for those positions, as well as integrated caseworker supervisors. They will also be recruiting for a program manager because their current program manager is retiring this month. They have also submitted their CSA draft, the self-assessment draft for CalOR a couple of weeks ago. I think it looks like many of our counties here in Region 3 have recently done that. Humboldt is reporting a new class of eligibility specialists who started in June. And they are recently completed interviews for eligibility supervisor. Lassen County has a new community social services director, Laura Atkins. They ordered a kiosk for the lobby and are looking forward to utilizing that technology to help to streamline their processes. They're also getting new phones throughout the county and have received new scanners for all staff. Mendocino County, we have started a new employment and training worker induction class and just recently had a graduation for eligibility induction for health and nutrition programs. Modoc County also submitted their draft self-assessment for CalOR, also looking forward to moving on to the peer review process. They're continuing to focus on recruitment and retention of staff, as also still reporting many vacancies across the department. And in Tehama, they have been working on their document routing rules, new banks, and looking to use the flexible automatic CalFresh renewals for interview appointments. And are very excited to continue utilizing CalSAWS to the best of their abilities. And that is it for our Region 3 updates this month.
Okay, great, thank you. And moving on to Region 4. There we go, Cecilia.
Yeah, good morning. I do have a couple of updates for Region 4. So I'll start with Kern County. They are working through continuous coverage unwinding process, attending webinars, reviewing reports in order to stay on target with that. They are also working closely with their managed care plans to facilitate communication with customers. Also working with their county partners on CalAIM implementation rollout of the round 3 application process. They have completed CalOR, CSA draft, and CFET plan and submitted to CDSS for review. Training was provided to the data unit in order to assist with data capturing needed for CalSAWS reporting. 29 eligibility workers will complete class training in July or have completed it already in July, with another 17 that will be starting shortly after that. Moving on to San Luis Obispo County. They have 10 new employment resource specialists starting or have started already, June 9th. They will complete an 8-week CalFresh Magi Medi-Cal training. As part of migration activities, they have started with web-based trainings in June. They wanted to thank Tulare County for sharing their knowledge and experiences. A team visited Tulare County on June the 7th, and they were able to see how efficiently the system is being utilized. And that experience was valuable to Kern County. So thank you to Tulare County. Stanislaus County. They have a high number of eligibility worker vacancies and are working towards establishing a plan to fill these vacancies. Diligently implementing the Medi-Cal unwinding activities. They have brought on 21 extra help family services specialists who started on June the 5th. They are training on processing Medi-Cal recertifications and will remain on staff through December of this year. And that is all that I have for Region 4.
Thanks for providing that. And next, moving on to Region 5, Sandra.
Hi, thank you. So I'm going to start with San Bernardino County. So for San Bernardino County, we currently have a class of eligibility workers and employment services specialists onboarding and have another class scheduled to begin September of 2023. Staff have been amazing and volunteering to support counties migrating to CalSAWS. They are grateful for the opportunity to support migrating counties and are thankful for the overwhelming number of staff volunteering. for Riverside County. We have been piloting integrated services approach within the Riverside Health Clinics. We have resource specialists in our Harupa clinic that conducts an additional assessment with patients to provide wraparound services. Kiosks with Benefits Cal access have been rolled out to some of these clinics to improve outreach. The integrative services approach will be rolled out to other clinics as well as other DPSS offices within a few months. And then we continue to onboard classes for Medi-Cal, CalFresh, CalWorks eligibility technicians every 2 months to help support the growing workload. This month is, we're also celebrating 100 years of DPSS for Riverside County and how far we've come. And then for Ventura, Ventura continues to learn the many components to CalSAWS, and staff are feeling very comfortable with the system. Ventura really appreciated having virtual and on-site support, lots of great feedback from staff. They are assessing many functional areas and are identifying ways to leverage CalSAWS functionalities. They are also working with the lobby team to get the kiosks and expect them to be operational by the 1st of August. They have transitioned to the M&O mode to continue to rely heavily on the CalSAWS team and our regional manager, Veronica, for support, and are very thankful to San Diego, who hosted the team for the recent hiring event on Saturday, and they plan to replicate the model to decrease vacancies within the county. And I'm going to hand it over to Albert so he can provide the San Diego updates.
Cindy. So what I have is actually a little video that we want to share in support to our upcoming waves. So if it's okay with you, continue with Region 6, and we can just finish out with the video.
Okay, great. Looks like fun. So moving on to Region 6 updates, and I see Olga. I think you're on mute. There you go.
Sorry about that. I'm using a new laptop that I just got. Excuse me. I just want to introduce myself again. My name is Olga Vicuña. I'm the new division chief here for revenue enhancement for LA County. So I am a month celebrating my anniversary this week. So I'm excited to be here and get to know the process and understand the process. It seems like you all have been doing a lot of work. But the only updates that I have so far is that we did do EW Academy here. Actually, yesterday was day 1, and it's to help with the training and update all the new releases for the CalSAWS system. We continue to hire, and I'm still trying to get in a grasp of all our hiring, but we have been doing tons of hiring for EWs and other items to help support the work that we are doing here. And that's all that I have so far.
Okay, so are any other Region 6 report out?
So the DPSS wasn't able to join us this month.
Okay,
I think
great.
that's it.
Okay, then back to you, Albert, for closing us out.
Well, thank you. So again, on behalf of San Diego County for our upcoming San Diego County and the rest of the CalSAWS county, here's a little video that we put together for our upcoming Wave 5 and Wave 6.
Ahoy everyone, it's San Diego County's Captain Nika speaking, here on this beautiful day to celebrate a momentous occasion. We're about to embark on an exciting journey as we witness the go live of CalSAWS in Wave 5 and Wave 6 counties. To all the passengers aboard this magnificent ship, I want to congratulate the eligibility workers of Wave 5 counties, Alameda, Fresno, and Sonoma, on the upcoming go live of CalSAWS scheduled for September 4th, 2023. It's time to set sail. Alameda County, as you set sail on this new chapter with CalSAWS, may the winds be at your back and the waters calm before you. May this journey bring you enhanced services, greater efficiency, and a brighter future for all. To all of you, passengers, crew, and eligibility workers of Fresno County, Captain Nika stands beside you, supporting you every step of the way. May your path be filled with success, unity, and the invaluable benefits of CalSAWS. Sonoma County, as you navigate the waters of CalSAWS, may your journey be tranquil, your path be clear, and your voyage be filled with success. But wait, there's more. Let's give a round of applause to our friends in Wave 6 counties. On October 30th, 2023, Sacramento, San Francisco, and San Luis Obispo will join the CalSAWS journey. Sacramento, the state's capital, get ready to sail into the future of self-sufficiency services with CalSAWS. Together, we'll create a smoother and more effective system for supporting those in need. San Francisco, the vibrant jewel of the Bay. CalSAWS is your ticket to streamline self-sufficiency support, ensuring a brighter future for all our residents. And last, but certainly not least, San Luis Obispo. CalSAWS will empower you to provide comprehensive automated self-sufficiency services, ensuring no one is left behind. To all the passengers, crew, and eligibility workers of Wave 5 and Wave 6 counties, let us sail forward together as we embark on this transformation journey into CalSAWS. May our bond strengthen and our collective efforts propel us towards a more efficient and compassionate self-sufficiency system. To all the passengers aboard our magnificent ship, San Diego County, with their warm hearts and unwavering support, offers our assistance as you set sail into the world of CalSAWS. Together, we can create a voyage towards a better future. So passengers and crew, let's set sail and make CalSAWS the shining star of our self-sufficiency system.
Cindy, I think that concluded. I don't know if anybody wants to follow that. That was pretty awesome from San Diego County.
That was great. Thank you. Thank you, San Diego. That was great. Yeah, I don't think there's any updates to that. So thank you, everyone. And unless Albert or any other PSC members has any comments or questions, I think that our meeting will be adjourned. And thank you again, San Diego.